Alrighty, everybody, and welcome back to another live stream here on the channel. It's been a couple of days, about 2 days, almost 3 days since we last talked. A lot of stuff has changed between now and then. We've gotten a lot closer, and we're currently dealing with a tornado event out there in Minnesota going into Wisconsin later on tonight. So let's see what we have here in the chat. We have Caleb, Sam, as well as Johnny and Northeast Weather and everyone else who is watching who may not be chatting, or if you're just now tuning in, or if I missed you, welcome to the live stream. Glad to have you in here. Let's go ahead and switch on over to our main scene. Welcome Misty as well as Jefferson and Sebastian. Let's go over to this scene, still with the glitch. That's fun. And of course, starting off strong with the SPC's browser source not loading. It's almost a stream occurrence every single time I live stream. It's just not working. Oh, this time it wants to be finicky. It ain't even going to refresh. You know what? We won't worry about it. But yeah, so we just got a tornado watch out here in Minnesota. Actually, a new tornado warning just got issued on this storm. So there's 2 tornado warnings for this one cell out here. Going towards Bluffton over Deer Creek here in west central Minnesota. So make sure you're in your safe spot if you're in that active tornado warning. This storm has already produced a tornado, so you need to make sure that you are in your safe spot if you're under that active tornado warning. We're going to have to get rid of the SPC site on our live streams in terms of the browser source. Oh, the whole site is down. Well, look at that. The whole site is down. That is crazy. Wow. Let me see. That is something. So is the whole site like completely gone there? Like, hello? So it ain't on our end for once. This is actually on the SPC side of things. Well, as long as we're receiving warnings from the NWS, that's what's very, very important. It would be nice to have the SPC today. That's quite a crucial part to our live streams. Let's see. I'm going to go through a back source here. See if I can get through it. Nope. Wow. Well, that is something. Well, I guess we won't be using the SPC today. Also, that level, that's dead wrong. I forgot to change that completely. I apologize. It is not a moderate today, although it could be a moderate tomorrow. We could have a moderate tomorrow. I'll talk about that in just a bit. Welcome, Catman. I'm pretty sure I welcomed you. If you got too welcomed, I think you got welcomed twice there. Pretty sure you were like the first or second person I said. But yeah, this is the actual risk for today. No moderate today. We've got 2 enhanced risks for severe weather. This is actively updating, but I don't know. I don't know how to see the new outlook because the SPC is not working. Oh wait, here we go. Here we go. There it is. It's all blue. What the heck? It's all coated in blue right there. All right, there you go. It's back up for me. All right, yeah, it looks like the new outlook, I don't see any significant change to their main categorical risk. They may have changed the probabilities. We'll have to wait for those probabilities to come in order to see them. Let's check here. It looks generally the same to me. Yeah, it looks the same to me. The entire outlook looks the same. Let me see if they mention anything. Only minor adjustments were made to trim probabilities behind the cold front. Other than that, the forecast remains on track with no large changes needed this outlook cycle. So yeah, they've really changed nothing except for maybe trimming a bit of the marginal or something. So yeah, this is what we're dealing with right now. Like I mentioned just a second ago, we've got an enhanced risk for severe weather today. Very strange is the hail probabilities here. So we've got a 30 significant in this area. Then we have a 15 significant on the northern edge of that. Then we've got a 30 significant and a 15 significant back here. And then it separates back to a 30 significant, a 30%, and a 15% all in this area. And then it changes all the way back up into a 15 sig back up here in Montana and Wyoming. So a very chaotic hail outlook. Some areas under a 30%, some under a 30 hatched, other areas under a 15 hatched. Minnesota is under 15 hatched, 15%, 30 hatched, 30%. A very chaotic hail outlook out here for our risk area. The main thing that you need to know is the greatest tornado threat today will be focused close to the cold front. The greatest hail threat could be with absolutely any other storm that fires near the cold front or all the way back down into central Montana. So hail is by far the #1 issue today, followed by damaging winds. Definitely could see some gusts of 80 miles per hour in Nebraska. We're anticipating a mesoconvective system, MCS for short, to form very late this evening into the early night hours. And then it will probably peak towards about 11 o'clock Eastern, maybe midnight Eastern is when it will peak in damaging wind potential, and then progress quite rapidly off to the southeast, and it should weaken. I imagine it's going to weaken quite quickly as well. I don't expect it to be a long-lived MCS for tonight. Another threat, obviously, is tornadoes. We've got a very large 2% tornado risk and a decent-sized 5% tornado risk out in that brown area is your 5%. Like I said, the northern side of that's probably going to be where our greatest tornado potential will be focused. That's at least my thinking, very close to the low pressure. A lot of uncertainty on how many storms will fire to the southwest. That tornado watch doesn't go too far southwest. If we switch back to that outlook, you can see the 5% goes almost down to the, actually it does go down to the Iowa-Minnesota border, and that tornado watch is still a good 4 to 5 counties north of Iowa. So a lot of uncertainty on the convective evolution of storms towards the weaker side of your cold front, which will be down towards like Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Worthington, Minnesota, also Sioux City, Iowa. A lot of uncertainty on how things will convectively evolve out there. And then we move on into tomorrow's risk for severe weather. Another enhanced risk for severe storms in place, this time across Kansas and Missouri. This includes portions of really the west side of Kansas City. It doesn't go into the metro of Kansas City in Missouri side, but the metro of Kansas City, Kansas, is actually split between the enhanced risk and that slight risk level 2 and level 3 out of 5 for severe storms. The biggest threat by a milestone tomorrow is going to be damaging winds. There is the chance for a moderate risk tomorrow. There's a chance for a derecho tomorrow, albeit the chance for a derecho is low with the new classification. We all know that it's going to be difficult to achieve derecho, but it does seem like a possibility, definitely not likely or it hasn't been mentioned by the SPC, but there is the possibility for a very intense MCS and or a derecho across portions of central, southern, and even into actually eastern Kansas into western Missouri as well. Hail threat when storms first get going, definitely going to be very elevated. Could see 3 to 3.5 inch hail near and northwest of Wichita in Kansas. And also could see a couple tornadoes with that MCS and or derecho, depending on which way things convectively evolve and how long our MCS lasts. So definitely going to be watching tomorrow very, very closely. Like I said, could end up with a moderate risk level 4 to 5 for tomorrow if our damaging wind potential does increase at all, which right now it is actively uptrending for tomorrow. 2 tornado warnings now out here in Minnesota. These are really going to be difficult to track. I'm not expecting to see any crazy areas of rotation. Lower level wind shear is fairly limited. These storms are going to be very, very dependent off of the vorticity of our low pressure. So we have a decent low pressure. It's about 1,000 millibar surface low, I believe. Let me actually check. It might be weaker than that. Yeah, it looks like about 1,008 millibar low. That definitely not a strong low pressure, but it is a well-defined low pressure. You can definitely tell where it is spinning. You can see some spin here in these thunderstorms. Just their overall movement isn't like directly east or directly southeast. So these storms definitely going to be driven by vorticity here. Let me see if I can kind of show you guys. Not mesoanalysis having issues as well. So this is 3 Cape mixed in with vorticity on mesoanalysis. And the blue is your vorticity, the red is your 3 Cape. And where those intersect the most is the greatest chance for spin in the atmosphere. And right now that looks to be focused across this corridor in Minnesota. And then as we go into the future, give or take 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock Eastern time, it's going to push more to the east. So I think if we do see any tornadoes today, which we've already seen one, I expect them to be very weak, very brief, and in just overall not long tracked or anything like that. Very brief and weak spin up tornadoes. There is a chance for a strong tornado, but I see it being nearly impossible with your lack of lower level wind shear. I saw some chasers mention a strong tornado potential near the surface low later on today towards 6, 7 o'clock Eastern time in east central Minnesota, maybe as far as northwest Wisconsin. Personally, I don't see it that much. I don't see it happening, but it's 2025. You can't rule it out. Tornado season's been crazy this year. It was crazy last year. And so who's to say we won't see a random strong tornado in east central Minnesota? Whereas Lucky, he has been celebrating the entire week of his graduation. His graduation was held Friday. It is Tuesday. He's celebrated Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, today, and he's going to probably continue to celebrate tomorrow too. So he hasn't, we've barely had time to call. He's been out and about for the last 4 or 5 days straight, including today. I almost got to talk to him. We called for about like 5 minutes and he said, I don't have much to do today, so we could talk at like 2:30. And then at 2:30, he's like, never mind, I have to go do stuff. So he's already back out. So I don't expect to hear much from him, but you only graduate high school once in your life. So I don't blame him for celebrating at all. You only graduate high school one time. So when you graduate, you better make it a memorable one. Let me see. Does a derecho threat exist for Friday across the Great Lakes? No. It will likely be a mixture of linear and clustered storms. Although I do think, did you say for Friday? Wait, what? You said Friday? My head just immediately went to the risk that you're in, which is day 3, Wednesday's risk. This is Wednesday, but you said Friday. No? Unless I'm missing something. No? Man, you barely even have a chance for rain on Friday. Nah. Not sure what the GFS is doing, but it has some wild pretty colors on Friday night out in Minnesota and South Dakota. Supercell composite up to 28. Let me go to the Euro. Ooh, that's a good shortwave right there. That is a really good shortwave. I don't see anything on Friday. Are you talking about this tiny little belt of flow right there? I highly doubt it. Wow, fully capped. Wow. Jeez. Talk about a capping, y'all. That is a absurdly large cap. Look at that. Ain't nothing going through that. But man, if something did go through that, it would ever be explosive. But that is a wild cap right there. But no, I don't see no derecho threat on Friday, at least out in the Great Lakes. But definitely could have some big time thunderstorms Friday night in South Dakota or Minnesota if the cap does break or downtrend, but I really don't see that happening either way. It looks like the cap's probably going to really hold on that day. Saturday, Saturday could be a bit of a bigger day for Michigan, but there's a lot of questions in the cap breaking. I don't see the cap breaking on Friday or Saturday on the GFS right now. So I would watch both of those days, though. I would definitely watch this upcoming sequence. If you're up in this area, right up in here, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday all need to be watched going into next week. And none of those are outlined right now by the SPC because there's too much uncertainty on what will happen. We got to get through today, tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday before we figure out what's going to happen on, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Both of these are still radar indicated tornado warnings. Just make sure you're in your safe spot if you're in either one of these in central Minnesota. We're just going over the overall risk here quickly, and then we'll start diving more into those storms as they get closer to radar sites. There is a day 4 risk in the mid-Atlantic. This does include both me and Lucky. What the heck is that to my north? There's something going towards... Man, that's going to have a pretty good shelf with it. Very nice, sharp access with those outflow winds right there. That'd be some cool-looking clouds. But yeah, day 4 risk for severe storms out here in North Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, almost into New York. It does include Tennessee. A very small portion of Tennessee there, so big risk for severe storms. This will likely be upgraded to an enhanced risk level 3 out of 5 for damaging winds. A lot of the times, these day 4s, 5s, and day 6 risks out here in the mid-Atlantic, I would say probably there's about a 60% chance if you're in a day 4 plus risk for severe storms in the mid-Atlantic, there's a 60+% chance of us seeing an upgrade to an enhanced risk at some point somewhere in that risk. So we'll probably see an enhanced risk. From what I've seen, probably in like southeast Pennsylvania, northern Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, like that area. But it's too far out. We'll have to see which way the trough trends. A lot of uncertainty on this. The trough right now, it's trended more south, so the risk, yesterday, that slight risk didn't go into North Carolina, and today it goes almost into South Carolina. So our trough pushed south, and thus the risk area grew and also pushed south with that trough trending. So we'll need to monitor day 4 closely. Definitely could be a pretty big threat for severe storms on the East Coast. So today, big time hail, damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour, and a couple tornadoes specifically across central and northern Minnesota. Tomorrow, big time damaging winds, 90 miles per hour, big time hail, 3.5 inch in diameter hail, and multiple tornadoes also possible tomorrow, primarily from northeast Colorado back down into central and west central Missouri. There is a possibility for an intense MCS and or a derecho to form tomorrow. That means there's also the possibility for a categorical risk upgrade to a moderate risk. Level 4 out of 5 will be possible near Wichita Falls for tomorrow, or rather Wichita, Kansas. Not Texas, Wichita, Kansas. Mix those two cities up all the time. Day 3, Wednesday. Personally, I think we will see an enhanced risk introduced near Chicago back towards probably much of Indiana. So if anyone's in Indiana, southern Michigan, eastern Illinois, maybe even back towards where Caleb is in central Illinois, there is definitely the chance for an enhanced risk for severe storms across generally this area here, from generally central southwest Indiana back up towards south central Michigan into central and eastern Illinois. I do think we could see an enhanced risk there. Probably for wind, we'll have to wait until we get closer. I don't see an enhanced risk for tornadoes on this area, but you never know. Things could trend that way. Right now, it looks like a messy mode, and I think that messy mode will prevent us from seeing a big tornado threat on Wednesday. And then I already went over Thursday's risk, primarily damaging winds. Probably going to see an enhanced risk for damaging winds. Definitely could see some large hail up to probably about 1.5 inches, 2 inch in diameter. And I wouldn't rule out a couple tornadoes, although I don't anticipate the tornado threat to be that high, especially across North Carolina, Southern Virginia. That's my neck of the woods. So you know the tornado threat's not going to be high. Out of all these upcoming 3 days for severe storms, today, tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, I personally see tomorrow night being the greatest threat for severe weather. I think we have a very good chance to see very widespread damaging winds across Kansas, maybe even into Oklahoma, and definitely into Missouri. But Wednesday also could be a pretty good threat for severe storms, especially if you're in Indiana. It could get pretty rough on Wednesday if you're in central northern Indiana back towards the area that I circled right there in white. Could get pretty rough in that area. Maybe even back out towards St. Louis, too. But there's a lot of time for things to change. But Wednesday just looks pretty good at the moment. Might be a bit of a NAM bias there. I don't know. No, the GFS is pretty good with that, too. The Euro is the weakest of them all, but the GFS and the NAM both quite aggressive for Wednesday's threat of severe storms. I think the Euro is a little bit slow here. I think the Euro is a little bit too weak. We'll see which way it trends. Still 2 tornado warnings active out here in Minnesota. Like I said, going to be difficult to see what these storms are doing with how far they are from any good radar sites. Just be in your safe spot there. Something I have to touch on here is the heat risk. There is a crazy heat wave that is going to be impacting the eastern United States and the eastern Midwest. This is the CPC's outlook. This could be potentially hazardous, likely hazardous heat. We're talking upwards of some spots 105 degrees Fahrenheit. So a very, very, very serious thing that you need to be aware of going into June 24th through the 26th across the Midwest into the eastern U.S., especially if you live in the Northeast. This does barely include my area, but also the entire state of Ohio under that high risk for hazardous temperatures. Potentially upwards of, like I said, 105 degrees Fahrenheit will be possible going into next week. This is actually next week. Weird to see them have such high confidence there, but I mean, yeah. Actually, you know what? The newest model runs indicate potentially upwards of 115 degrees Fahrenheit in some spots. with heat index. Without heat index, about 110. Gracious day. Much of that, actually, the best chance I see for 100 plus degrees Fahrenheit is the East Coast. I see it like right in here looks to be the absolute best chance. Yikes. So definitely plan around that. For sure, plan around that. I'll probably be busy that. When is that? Tuesday? Okay, that's not the weekend. That's good. Yeah, I'll be busy on like the 28th. Yeah, right around there. Towards the end of the month. Let me go ahead and also show y'all. Let's see. Is there anything else here? Nah. There's nothing too crazy to show you guys with that. But out here in the tropics, we're likely going to get a hurricane to form soon. This is not a close look and a new look on our satellite imagery. This is a very old and not so good look. I don't know why WeatherWise's satellite's always delayed, but yeah, let's go over here. Yeah, it's just their satellite's always delayed. It's always delayed. So here's a closer look. And you can see we definitely have a low pressure organizing for sure. Very broad, definitely a very, very broad low. I mean, very broad, but you can tell it's starting to circulate a little bit more. Very weak on that southern side of your low there. And we should see a tropical storm, likely a hurricane, develop out of this. Possibly there is a chance we could see upwards of a major. There is a chance for a major hurricane out of this. So if that does occur, we will be doing multiple update live streams on this. Probably at least 1 to 2 live streams on this if it does look like a major hurricane for Mexico. Take a look at our ensembles here, just our model runs as a whole. You can see most have it getting to a Cat 1, pushing Cat 2 status, but our newest hurricane models, the H-Wharf, pull out the H-Wharf, that does show a borderline Category 3 hurricane just off the coast of Mexico here, Thursday afternoon. Now, other models, this is something we really want to watch. The HAFSA model run has it making landfall Thursday very early in the morning. Like we're talking about probably about a 5 a.m. Eastern time landfall here in Mexico. That's a big difference. Literally an 18-hour difference in landfall. That could be the difference between a weak Category 1 and a major low-end Category 3 hurricane with this system. So we're going to have to watch that timing. Right now, the HMON, that is definitely a Category 3 there. 9 is 63 millibars. So the HMON, the H-Wharf have it making landfall Thursday late in the afternoon into the evening. The HAFSA and B have it making landfall Thursday morning. So timing is definitely going to play a big factor in if this becomes a major hurricane or not. Either way, it's going to be a named storm. I can guarantee it's going to become a tropical storm sometime Wednesday. Most likely about 2 days from now, we'll likely end up with a tropical storm out of that. I can pretty much guarantee that. Yeah, so probably just some very weak areas of rotation here. So tornadoes, notice the plural there. Tornadoes, and not just one, but multiple tornadoes could drop out of this as it moves up to the northeast. So be in your safe spot. There's likely multiple different areas of rotation here capable of producing multiple tornadoes in this region. And again, that is from Park Rapids back down to Deer Creek, east into Huntersville in north central Minnesota. Let's see here. What are we talking about? Chat over here? Bench presses? Man, don't even get me started on that stuff. I'm too tired to talk about working out. Capybara, are you talking about today or tomorrow? Are you talking about tomorrow? I don't think you'd be talking about today. Yeah, because, yeah, okay, I figured. I figured you were talking about tomorrow's. I don't think the tornado threat will be that high with the thunderstorms that initially fire. I think it's going to be with the MCS slash the derecho potential. Of course I will. Yeah, MRMS is one of the features. Literally the other day I was talking to Lucky about it. I said I wish Weatherwise would add MRMS because that would really help with figuring out like exactly how many storms have fired in Virginia, North Carolina, because we were dealing with this right here, and me and Lucky were wondering, we're like, how many storms are there even in this area? So we were having to switch between, 3 different radar sites, Blacksburg, Raleigh's, and then Jacksonville's. And then, sure enough, 3 days later, there's MRMS. I think there is a chance for a strong tornado today and tomorrow, but I don't think it's high enough for either one to go enhanced for tornadoes at the moment. You'll never know, Caleb. You'll never know. Clickbait in the Eastern Pacific has gotten. I haven't seen one thing, but then again, I ain't been on here much at all. I've been, the last 2 days, it's been chaotic. It has been very chaotic. I haven't watched much YouTube or been involved much in the weather community. Man, I didn't post on Twitter for like almost 3 days straight. Today as a whole is definitely more conditional for a tornado threat. I do see why they have the 5% tornado risk out today. But in my opinion, though, with the lower level wind shear, it's just so poor. The lower level wind shear is so poor that I don't expect like a crazy tornado threat, or probably not even something that's 5% worthy. Let's see, where is this located here? So it's about... Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the wind shear is just... It's so much lower than what models were indicating. Let me see here. All right, so the HRRR was thinking right now we would have about 200, at least 150, but upwards of 200 helicity out here. And in reality, if I take a sounding on the RAP Mezzo, we only got about 90. So literally about half to possibly even under half of what the HRRR was showing. Let me see. Okay. That might be... So that's just came across my feed, an area forecast discussion from the Southeastern Pennsylvania National Weather Service. And they mention a higher end severe weather event with numerous instances of damaging winds could be possible, but confidence regarding these details is still not high enough, as well as on the timing of the front. So they already mentioned that wording sounds like an enhanced risk wording right there. So we'll probably see an enhanced risk in Pennsylvania, like I was saying before, for Thursday. But like I said, also don't think that's going to stretch into Virginia, North Carolina. TRG, this is a bit specific, but do you think if cells remain semi-discrete just enough tomorrow, even with a surface inversion, they may drill through it and still produce tornadoes? I think the main tornado threat is definitely going to end up being with our line. And there's a lot of questions on how that semi-discrete convection evolves there. But from what I see, that is completely the new HRRR. Everything north is just fully elevated. It is just fully elevated north. You can see this is your boundary right here. So surface-based convection for tomorrow, portrayed by the HRRR, has to be south of this boundary. Generally south of that. And if we take a look north, 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 everything stays north. And then by the time we get to the overnight hours, that boundary has pushed even way more to the south there. Actually more like this. And that's going to be when storms have the best chance to produce tornadoes. But even then, likely damaging winds will be the main concern. So all of that, this is just big time hail. Like, this is probably 3 to 4 inch hail, 70 to 80 mile an hour winds. And you could see a spin up tornado, but the tornado threat should be fairly low with them. It's just going to be some kicking large hail. I don't know if the NAM, yeah, the NAM doesn't portray that bad of an environment in terms of how sharp that boundary is. Am I looking at the wrong day? Nope, I'm looking at the right day. The NAM just fully backed off on any big-time wind bag, didn't it? Yeah, the NAM just fully backed off on any crazy wind bag. It still has some damaging wind potential there. Yeah, see, that would definitely have a higher tornado threat if storms fired late in the evening and were fully upscale by the time the sun completely sets out here in Kansas. And then that lower level jet cranks into the overnight hours and you get a bunch of spin-up tornado action there. But that's not what the HRRR says. So a lot of uncertainty on the timing there. And the timing and placement of that boundary and the storms is going to be absolutely everything. There we go. "27 minutes remain on this very disorganized storm." I've pressed the wrong button, so... Okay, there you go. It didn't pop up. Yeah, very disorganized thunderstorms out here. Caleb, you still talking about working out over there? This ain't gym class, dude. This is a weather live stream. A lot of severes out here in Mississippi as well. 3 severes for these storms in east central Mississippi, mainly for wind, but could see some small hail out of them. Scattered severes, currently just 1 in southeast Texas. Anything up in Montana, special weather statement. Random severe southeast South Dakota. Yeah, like I said before, there's a lot of uncertainty on if any convection will be able to develop in this area. So if I were chasing today, I would definitely target pretty much on the surface low. I would not be anywhere south of the Twin Cities for today. Although I do think there is a chance we could see a spin-up tornado or two if convection can get going in this area. But that will likely be after 6 o'clock Eastern. Right now, like I said, just your wind shear is underperforming a lot. And I believe that's going to lead to these storms not being able to intensify as quickly. Remember, wind shear also plays a role in intensification, too. It's not just with rotating thunderstorms, but also with sustaining updrafts. And if you don't have a lot of wind shear, for instance, surface to 3 kilometer wind shear in this area is about 35. That's pretty good. That's okay. Like that's enough to sustain thunderstorms. But in the surface to 1 kilometer, looking at about 10, just 10 surface to 1 kilometer bulk wind shear. And then surface to 1 kilometer helicity is barely even pushing 90. So still one active tornado warning away from our good radar sites out here in Minnesota. We'll just continue to watch that as best as we can. But these storms are about to enter the enhanced risk for severe weather across Minnesota. So yeah, the main event today, for those who may be wondering, the main time frame for today's event is 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Maybe, yeah, maybe, yeah, about 6 o'clock. Maybe 5. Maybe 5 to 9. Either 5 to 9 or 6 to 9. One or the other. New severe northeastern Nebraska for Crofton, Hardington for 1-inch hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds for the next 38 minutes. Activated your Siri. My AI just activates out of nowhere. It won't even be close to its name, and it just pops up and starts yelling at me. No. Yeah, but this is the new MRMS on WeatherWise for those who may not have seen it. And boy, do they have a lot of stuff. So one of the best things, in my opinion, is... Let me see if I can find it here. Which one was it? I forgot which one it was. Let's see. There's so much. I mean, you have an absurd amount of rotation tracks. It's just insane, all the products that you can explore on here. Those are your hail swaths over the last 60 minutes. And you can see definitely hail in southeast South Dakota. Some very scattered hailstones across a good chunk of the U.S. Very scattered hail. You could even do hail swaths for the last 1,440 minutes. Don't ask me how long that is, because I have no idea. Try to do math in my head. What? That's about a... That should be about like a day, right? It is a day. That is a day. Wow, that is a day. Yeah, so they have all the hail probabilities. They have echo tops too on here. They have reflectivity maximums, composite maximums, reflectivity in the lowest 24,000 feet, reflectivity from 24,000 to 60,000 feet, reflectivity from 33 to 60,000 feet. Like I said, bunch of rotation tracks. Lightning. Seems like the lightning is down though at the moment, but lightning was it. One of these was really awesome. Seems like it's a bit broken right now. I think it was this. It's broken. Rest in peace. Yeah, this was it right here. Flash density for 1 hour. But it hasn't updated in like 2 hours. But I find that really cool. And again, you can go back 6 hours on that too. Look at all the lightning. Now that's from about 12Z to 18Z, so about, give or take, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern. Like I said, hasn't updated in a while. And that's... I mean, they've added probably 30 some new products, as well as MRMS here. just today on WeatherWise. And not only that, they added a completely new section here. We have Alaska now. We have Hawaii, and we've never had, I haven't seen radars in Alaska, but now we have them in Alaska for MRMS. Hawaii, we've had radars there, but now there's MRMS on WeatherWise there. The Caribbean, yeah, the Caribbean. So once we get a hurricane in the Caribbean, we'll be able to see that from MRMS on WeatherWise. And all the way back out in Guam, all have MRMS. And of course, the entire continental lower 48 states here in the US. And that also goes into a very small portion of Canada, too. Looks like the far southern provinces. So, a lot of new stuff. A lot of new stuff. And I think they added some other things as well. Let me go to their list. I'm telling you, when they do updates, it feels like they just drop everything in one update. And they do it almost weekly. Almost every week we get these big updates. Last week it was a full overhaul on locations. And this week it's so much stuff to do with MRMS. So they also, let's see. They also did a new feature for loading radar in low data zones. So radar can slowly load, which can help load radar during, storm chases. And then, like I said, they also added all those MRMS locations, the continental US, parts of Canada, Alaska, Hawaii, Caribbean, and Guam. And a bunch of other things, too. Also, some new things with 3D globes, which is for plus subscribers. And, yeah, also smoothing and no smoothing for MRMS, too. Which is for plus subscribers. So much stuff. So much stuff. The two big things I'm really hoping to see over the next year, I'm really hoping to see before 2026 tornado season, before March of 2026, I want to see the custom warnings to where you can change the colors of each individual upgraded warning. So you could change the color of a normal severe, a significant severe, a destructive severe, say a PDS tornado warning, a confirmed tornado warning. I want to have those hopefully to be able to change before tornado season in 2026, and maybe like 1 or 2 model runs, even if it's not like the full 10-ish model runs that Radar Omega has. Maybe just like the HRRR or something. So we'll see. We'll see what they add, but now I've fully started to use WeatherWise. That's a observed tornado warning. I mean, I haven't even opened Radar Omega on this live stream at all. I haven't opened it one time during this whole live stream, I think. I may have for a split second, but then probably immediately closed it. So observed tornado warning here in Staples, in central Minnesota, second tornado of the day. And it's from these light little rain showers that are likely producing just quick spin-up tornadoes. And that's due to where they are near our low pressure. So you have a lot of vorticity mixed with thunderstorms that are already in the area, mixed with, let me just check before I say it. I'm just going to check it real quick. It is, I got to find it on Mesoanalysis. Yeah, mixed with about 153 Cape. So that allows for quick spin-up tornadoes. Brief, small, quick spin-up tornadoes. And we've had multiple of them. And I do see the report on this. I don't know. Public confirmed tornado. There's also a chaser on here who also confirmed a funnel and or possible tornado on this storm. And then the public did confirm a tornado on this cell. See if we got anybody else who has reported this. Yeah, they're just going to have very small, weak areas of rotation and be able to produce tornadoes because they're close to that low pressure. Like I said, with the amount of vorticity with that low pressure, which is really, really good vorticity, obviously, because it's near a low. You're just going to be able to get a bunch of spin-up tornadoes today. Bunch of weak spin-up tornadoes. If we have a little bit more helicity, which we will towards sunset in about 4 hours, 7 o'clock, we could have a brief window between like 7 and 8:30 Eastern where there is a non-zero chance for a strong tornado. But storms may be weakening at that time. Instability is going to fall off quite quickly. And daytime heating, of course, as well. So we'll have to see. I do think there's a brief window for a strong tornado potential. Tornadoes are normal in Minnesota, yes. Although definitely don't see as many tornadoes in Minnesota as we do in like Mississippi, Alabama, or Oklahoma. Tornadoes are something we see every single year in Minnesota. Thoughts on tomorrow's tornado setup, DRG? Are you just talking about in general, like for tomorrow's enhanced risk / the 5% tornado risk? Garbage. Garbage. I don't see much of a tornado threat outside of any MCS action. I think we're going to have a good MCS that forms likely after 8 p.m. Eastern time. And there's going to be a pretty wide window between 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern time where we could see a couple tornadoes in the 5% area. Specifically on the east side of that 5%. Right in here. But it all comes down to convective evolution, and that's not going to be something we know until tomorrow morning, because there's going to be morning convection, so we need to know tomorrow afternoon how much morning convection did we see, how good is the atmosphere destabilizing, and where did that morning convection occur. And based on that, we could see an upgrade to a moderate risk for winds tomorrow. And if we do see an upgrade for winds, that would mean a better opportunity for spin-up tornadoes because we would have a more organized line. I think a line is going to be what gives us the best threat for a tornado tomorrow. I don't think discrete storms are going to be what gives us our greatest tornado threat. I think it's going to end up being a very well-organized line of severe weather that tries to drop a couple tornadoes. Girl Dev, definitely damaging winds and hail. That's the main hazards. They did issue a new Outlook discussion that I have not read yet. Let's go here. Scattered thunderstorms and severe wind gusts are expected on Wednesday from parts of the southern plains into the Great Lakes and over a small portion of the western mid-Atlantic. On Wednesday, an upper-level trough will move from the central plains across to the mid and upper Mississippi Valley, with a lead wave moving from Missouri into lower Michigan. A surface low is expected across portions of eastern Iowa into lower Michigan during the day, with a trough extending southwestward across Illinois, Missouri, and Oklahoma. Dew points into the upper 60s and lower 70s. I'm just going to skim through the rest of this so I don't have to... They do mention a small tornado threat from... What? Yeah, a low tornado threat from Michigan down into Oklahoma. I think Wednesday's probably going to go 5%. I'm not too sure why they're not confident at all in a tornado threat. They say perhaps a tornado between southern Michigan and all the way back down into Oklahoma. I think we have a pretty good chance at seeing a 5% tornado risk over. Let me give you an idea of where. Depends on how clustered things are, but probably from like maybe southern Michigan back down into Illinois and Indiana. Somewhere up in this area. I think we have a good chance at a 5% tornado risk. So damaging winds of 60 to 70 miles per hour, large hail up to 2-inch in diameter, and a couple tornadoes will all be possible. However, if we do see any tornadoes, they will likely be fairly weak and fairly brief because our trough shouldn't be very well organized. At least that's what we're thinking right now, is our trough won't be organized. And the chance of you getting a tornado, even if they upgrade it to a 5% tornado risk, the chance of you still getting a tornado in that area is very low. So, main thing is damaging winds and hail. There is that small chance that a tornado is near your area on Wednesday, but the chance that it hits you is very low. I always try to stress that with anybody who has storm anxiety or anything like that. Whenever you have whenever you have these high-end tornado setups, which this won't be a high-end tornado setup at all, but whenever you're under the gun for a tornado, even if it's a 15 significant, which is a level 4 out of 5 for tornadoes, the chance of a tornado hitting your city, going down your street and hitting your house, it's just so low. Even if you're under like a 45 significant tornado risk, it's still so low. It is still very low to get one directly over your house. Even when you're on these very high-end, ridiculous setups, it's still a very low chance. It's a much higher chance to see damaging winds and hail over tornadoes any day, in terms of severe weather. For instance, today we have a 5% tornado risk, and the wind threat is 30 significant, and the hail threat is 30 significant in two different areas. So hail and wind is just something that we will always see more of than tornadoes. Now, sometimes you can get, setups where damaging winds and hail isn't a big issue. Like right now in Minnesota, we're seeing really rain showers produce brief spin-up tornadoes. But that's what it is. It's brief spin-up tornadoes because they're not very robust thunderstorms. They're not severe. If they were severe, we would have a better chance for tornadoes out of them because there would be more robust supercells, tapping into better wind shear and instability. But they're just rain showers very close to the surface low, and they're able to produce very quick, brief spin-up tornadoes. But still, we will likely end up with more hail and wind today than tornadoes. At the moment, we have 12 wind reports and 7 hail reports, and just 1 report of a brief, weak spin-up tornado, which was located near State Highway 108 in Minnesota. That was from our observed tornado warning before we started the live stream. What's Wisconsin looking like? A lot of scattered thunderstorms. Western Wisconsin definitely has the best chance to see damaging winds and a few spin-up tornadoes, as well as some isolated large hail up to about 1.5 to 2 inch in diameter. Tomorrow, the southern portion of Wisconsin is in the best risk for wind and hail. And then Wednesday, southeast Wisconsin. So if you're in far northeast Wisconsin, that's the area that won't see much. This portion, let me redo that. This small portion of Wisconsin has the best chance to see nothing over the next 3 days. So, likely, if you're in like Madison, Green Bay, Milwaukee, La Crosse, Eagle River, you're probably not going to get much other than heavy rain and damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour. But if you're more west, like Frederick, Oakland, River Falls in west central Wisconsin, that's where you have a better chance for a brief spin-up tornado, large hail up to 2 inch in diameter, and some damaging winds potentially as high as 70 miles per hour in west central Wisconsin. But right now, these storms aren't very robust in Minnesota, so that's a really good sign. These storms are in a really favorable environment, and they're just simply not doing much on the wind and hail side of things. They are producing spin-up tornadoes, but not much on the wind and hail side of things. Looks like we did just get potential Tropical Cyclone 5 in the Eastern Pacific. Let's see what their cone is. Any day this wants to load. They are forecasting a hurricane. A 90-mile-per-hour hurricane. Making landfall. They have 1 p.m. 1 p.m. on the 19th, which I think is Thursday, correct? Yeah, yeah. So that's a, I believe a high-end Cat 1, if I'm not mistaken. 90-mile-per-hour winds should be a high-end Category 1 hurricane. That's what they're forecasting. That's definitely the most likely case scenario. If it slows down a bit, we could start to see a bit better opportunity for a Category 2. If it speeds up, then shoot, there is a small chance it may not even get to hurricane status. But right now, something in the middle of a Cat 2 and a tropical storm, which is a Category 1. So that's what they're forecasting. A high-end Cat 1 is what they're forecasting, which is definitely the most likely case scenario. Models are really all over the place, but every single one has it being a tropical storm. Some have it pushing major hurricane status as it hits Mexico. So, just again to reiterate here, we're up to 2 observed tornadoes today. We've had about 16 damaging wind events and not that much hail. Yeah, we've had, my bad, 12 wind events. I think I said 16, 12, actually. Did we not have a tornado yesterday? I'm trying to think if we ever had a observed warning yesterday. I don't think we did. Oh no, we did. We had one in Montana. So we've had a tornado today, yesterday. The one on the none on the 14th, one on the 13th, and then on the 12th, 11th, 10th, 9th. Holy moly, we've almost had a tornado every day of June. Oh my goodness, wow. June has been active. Every day except for June 1st and June 14th. We've had a tornado. So 14 out of the 16 days of June so far, we've had a tornado. Albeit most weak, most brief. But tornado's a tornado, man. And then, of course, we had the crazy one on the 5th in western Texas. Dropped like literally 10 plus tornadoes in western Texas. In my opinion, that's still the craziest tornado so far of June is the one in west central Texas. Really early this month. And then we nearly had 2 derechos already, but neither of them have actually been confirmed as derechos. We've had multiple MCSs. It's been a very, very active June. Three tornado warnings. That's about to be down to 2 tornado warnings here. And that is our first severe storm here in north central Minnesota. 1-inch hail, 60-mile-an-hour severe thunderstorm warning there. Yes, we had 2 possible derechos. One that lasted all day, tracked from eastern Arkansas to northeast South Carolina. And then the very next day, the one in northern Texas. The one in the southern U.S. literally tracked from the border of Mississippi and Arkansas all the way into like west of Florence, South Carolina. And then our one in Texas, It was more significant, but it didn't track that far. I think it was from, I can't remember exactly, but it was generally from somewhere in this area to generally somewhere in this area is where it tracked to. But the one before that, the day before, much larger, longer MCS. Very intense MCS on both days, but neither of them actually confirmed as derechos. Oh, and then, yeah, we did have the one in Ohio, Pennsylvania, but that wasn't in June. I was talking about the two in June. The one in Pennsylvania, was that April? I think it was sometime in April. I don't know. Bad memory, man. Tornado season just flies right by. Just flies right by, man. April 29th. Yep. Third tornado warning, so we got down to 2 for a minute. Back up to 3 tornado warnings. All out here in Minnesota. A bit busy, buddy. That is a big understatement. It was a very active tornado season. Definitely above average for the main peak of tornado season. Now, we'll have to see where everything settles out by the time we're done with hurricane season in second season. But we'll probably finish a little above average overall for our tornado count. Not too sure where we are at the moment. Let's see. See if I remember how to check this. I don't think I do. Let's see here. I know the SBC has a specific graph. I think it's here. I don't know where it is. This is everything for like today's risks and climatology. I can't find any graphs for like our entire tornado season yet. Let's see. Maybe it was the CPC. I'll find it eventually. I'll find it eventually. Maybe. Near 1,000 tornadoes. Doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me. TRG, I want a genuine thought on Wednesday for my area. That doesn't mean you say light rain at maxed. I wouldn't say that, Caleb. Blue skies. That's like the most you'll see. There's a small chance for a cloud or two, but blue skies. I wouldn't call for rain. Man, that's too outrageous. Let me see. It just depends on how fast our trough is. If our trough is fast, storms may not fire until they get to your east. If our trough is slow, they could fire right over your house. Either way, it's very scattered for your area, so I think you will end up with likely rain. But whether or not it's full-blown severe storms or not is going to depend completely on how fast our trough is. Best case scenario for you as a storm chaser, you could definitely see some cool looking clouds. There is definitely a chance for a spin up tornado, albeit very low, and it will likely be to your east, but it's not impossible. But then again, you are a mod, so you're likely going to have a dome over your house. But you could see 1.5 inch hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds, and I wouldn't fully rule out a spin-up tornado somewhere in central Illinois or eastern Illinois. I think next year will be insane for some reason. Well, we got to get through winter first. We got to get through hurricane season, then we got to get through winter 2026 before we get into tornado season. But yeah, like I think Capabar just said it. Let me see, or was it Ben? It was Ben. I think above average is our new average. There you go. That's what's gonna describe it. But eventually, we're gonna get a below average tornado season. It will happen, probably sometime in the next century. But we will see a below average tornado season again eventually. But right now, we are in a stretch where the new normal is a well above average tornado season and an above average hurricane season with an above average winter season. The new normal is everything is above average. New tornado warning extended into Eagle Bend and Bertha in central Minnesota. So none of these are observed, but there is 4 radar indicated tornado warnings, and it's very difficult to see exactly how much they're rotating right now. There are some updrafts that have shockingly failed. Are the lower level lapse rates like garbage or something? I haven't checked lower level lapse rates, I'm gonna be honest with you. I've not looked at those. Get some lunch? Buddy, you're like 5 hours late on lunch. What? Hello? Oh, wow. Yeah. I found the bust mode. I found what's going to make today not perform to what models are saying. I don't think it's going to be a complete bust. We've already seen 2 tornadoes, so... In my opinion, 2-3 tornadoes, that's what nearly verifies a 5% tornado risk, depending on how large the 5% is. But yeah, there you go. That's what's going to help today underperform. Because let me show you what the NAM had. This is what the NAM has for right now. Let's go ahead and switch that, close that. This is what the NAM has for right now. Multiple different thunderstorms firing across Minnesota. And then in an hour, they all grow upscale rapidly. And then in 2 hours, we start to peak. So I still believe 6 o'clock to about 9 o'clock will be peak. But man, I don't know what this is, but I doubt this is going to happen. I don't know what it is, but it's not going to happen. Look at the updraft elicity tracks, dude. I don't think we will see much south of the Twin Cities in terms of tornado activity, but I do think we could see still a couple tornadoes today. I do believe we're going to end up with a few more tornadoes, possibly a strong tornado towards sunset in Minnesota into northwest Wisconsin. And I think this is going to be the main area now. Right in here is probably going to be our main area for today. Now that those storms have already become well established, produced at least 2 tornadoes and already a severe storm there. That should be where our main activity is. The ARRR shows a very, very potent setup for tornadoes on Wednesday across Illinois and Indiana. This is the newest HRRR. Not much initiation because it's very early on, but you can see already one cell firing there, southwest of Chicago at 2 p.m. And a couple little whispers of convection around that. But it's actually what's under this that is quite impressive. Very large open warm sector of 2,000 to 3,000 instability across much of Illinois, all the way back down into Oklahoma. Very sharp, large open warm sector with a good low pressure in eastern Iowa. Upper level wind shear, very, very strong mid and upper level wind shear across Illinois and western, northwestern Indiana. Lower level wind shear, still a bit of an ouch. Not a lot of good lower level wind shear on the HRRR. That will probably improve with time later on in the day as your trough gets a bit stronger. Dew points into the low to even as high as the mid 70s there. And then also temperatures into the low to mid 80s. So really, really nice setup for all significant severe hazards there. Lower level wind shear, like I said, definitely a bit of a doozy there in Illinois. Not a lot with southern and southeast extent, but still a very potent setup for severe weather portrayed by the HRRR there for Wednesday. Definitely wouldn't be shocked if we see a couple tornadoes in this area. But I feel like over-convection is probably going to limit our overall tornado threat. I don't think it will be a big tornado day. I think over-convection will be able to limit it to some extent. Why is Lucky calling me? Hi? Good morning. Is there a storm near you? Storm. Man, that's just a light rain shower. I've gotten like 20 of those over the last 3 days. It's not even a rain shower? That's a really cool rain shaft. Hello, Pete. It's scud lucky. There's not gonna be a tornado in North Carolina. Sweet. It does look cool. That's about all you get in North Carolina is some cool looking clouds. That's it. Are you gonna have time to call tonight or still busy? Jeez. Dude, you're cooked. All right, well, I'll talk to you next year. Jeez. Oh, well, probably not even then either. I'll talk to you in 2029. I'll talk to you whenever. Lucky says bye, chat. All right, see you later. His dude. Yeah, he's busy for the next 3 days straight. That's why I was surprised he was calling me. It's because he's got a cool looking cloud. Weatherwise? Okay, I wasn't clicked on weatherwise. It's on my end, not weatherwise. Alright, tornado warning has been canceled for Staples and west of Montley in central Minnesota. Still a tornado warning remaining in effect for Parker's Prairie, Eagle Bend, Bertha, as well as just west of Poplar in Minnesota. I think the main tornadic storm at the moment is this one in Eagle Bend. That's the main one to keep an eye on at the moment. Plenty of just generalized thunderstorms out here across southeastern, what state is this? South Dakota, northeastern Nebraska, into west central Iowa. Couldn't tell where I was. Yeah, southwest of Sioux Falls in South Dakota. But the main activity today, in my opinion, and it still seems valid here, gonna stay across northern Minnesota, well north of the Twin Cities at the moment. It's probably just the same old Sam. Um, Florida has some wonky weather, so your local meteorologist is going to be like a billion times more accurate than me. I don't know anything about about Florida's weather. All I know is that thunderstorms pop up out of literally thin air because of sea breeze. I'm not good at forecasting Florida weather. In my opinion, that's probably one of the harder states to forecast, especially during summer. That and probably Colorado. Florida and Colorado are the two states that, in my opinion, are the hardest to forecast. Owl, Minnesota. You're in a tornado watch right now. The greatest threat is definitely staying to the north of you. There's definitely uncertainty on how much storms will strengthen over the next few hours, but there's definitely a good chance that seeing 60-mile-an-hour winds, 1-inch hail, and a tornado will all be possible around that general area. A low chance that any of those hazards will directly hit you, but that is a possibility. Very difficult to say how convection will evolve today based on how bad our models have been. Yeah, but here's the new HRRR. Again, we don't really like to use the HRRR day of. It's not that good, but it is starting to handle a little bit better. And you can see very isolated storms, widespread thunderstorms, but isolated severe storms, isolated hail, winds, and tornadoes. The highest tornado threat would definitely end up being with any semi-discrete or discrete storm that can form north of the Twin Cities towards 7 o'clock. But outside of that, I'm honestly not really seeing much with today. I do think we could see a few tornadoes still, but it's not a very big day for severe weather. At least out here in Minnesota, in my opinion. I think the biggest threat is definitely isolated wind, isolated hail, and a couple spin up tornadoes. Oh, back out in Nebraska. Ain't even talked about Nebraska. Ain't even talked about Nebraska. Let me go back to Nebraska here. So I did mention it, but it's just going to be a big mess. It's going to be a big mess. A lot of thunderstorms with mainly damaging winds, some isolated large hail. We could see a spin up tornado, but that tornado threat is definitely substantially lower across Nebraska compared to East Central Minnesota. And the HRRR doesn't even have much of a damaging wind bag forming tonight, but I still do think we could see 70 to 80-mile-an-hour winds, 2-inch hail, and probably going to see a spin-up tornado or two. Right now, tomorrow is definitely looking like the most concerning day, and Wednesday is right there with tomorrow, to be honest with you. There's definitely questions on convective evolution on Wednesday, but we'll see. The only reason, at the moment, the reason why tomorrow, in my opinion, looks like a bigger day is because, well, tomorrow is closer than Wednesday. Really, both setups, in my opinion, are just as potentially significant. We'll see. We'll see about downtrends. I think we are going to see some downtrends for Wednesday. Right now, Wednesday looks pretty rough, but I'm thinking we could see some downtrends. Because the HRRR and the NAM3K are quite aggressive right now. Either way, I think it's going to be a very messy mode that will lead to very large, or rather, large hail, damaging wind gust, and likely a couple tornadoes. Anything more than that, like, say, anything like 80-mile-an-hour winds, or 2.5-inch hail, or a strong tornado threat, anything like that, it's too far out to say right now, and too much uncertainty. You know, our high-end, our more high-end events with significant hazards, too difficult to say if we're going to see anything like that for Wednesday. Tomorrow, I'm anticipating a very significant day. I expect we'll see 2.5 to 3-inch hail. I expect we'll see at least 80-mile-an-hour winds and probably a couple spin-up tornadoes. Both, I'll put it, how about this way? Both days have like the same ceiling. That's what I'm trying to say. Both days have like the same ceiling. Which one will perform better? We'll see. I think both days have about the same ceiling. Both look messy for storm mode, but both have a pretty good environment. Tornado warning was canceled for Parker's Prairie. I just wanted to double check on that. It is canceled. So Parker's Prairie no longer under a tornado warning there. I could see a spin up. I mean, I could see a strong tornado threat tomorrow, but in my opinion, it's going to take quite a lot for that to actually occur. It's either going to have to be embedded inside of a line with a good RFD, or like a bookend vortex, or something's going to have to fire on that boundary. So either with the line on the northern side of the line or on the boundary. So there's a chance. There is a chance we see a strong tornado tomorrow. I just don't think it's a notable chance. Tornado warning. Whoa. Those velocities caught me off guard for a second there. Yeah, that was, I don't know what that was about. That was corruption. Tornado warning was dropped west of Poplar. For a split second, we were down to 1 tornado warning. We're back up to 2. These are the only 2 active tornado warnings. This one, no longer active. This one, no longer active. So only this one right here and this one right here. These are the only 2 that are active. I hope Weatherwise can figure out how to fix this, because, again, see how this says the expires in the hail threat and the tornado type of the warning? It's radar indicated. And then if you click on this, it only says expires. So that means it's been canceled. It doesn't have a hail threat, and it doesn't say radar indicated, confirmed, or whatnot. So both of these are canceled, and both of these are still active. So I hope there's a way they can figure out how to, when warnings are canceled, drop those 2. Or drop tornado warnings that have been canceled. I'm not sure what the issue is there with Weatherwise having an issue with not showing canceled warnings. Could Slipe be moved into Northeast Ohio on Wednesday? Again, it's all about the timing of the trough. It's all about the timing of the trough. If the trough's faster, yes. If the trough's slower, definitely not. Personally, I don't see it. I don't see it happening. How far does that slight go? You said on Wednesday, so that's here. I don't see it, really. Personally, I don't see it going anywhere past, like, Tifton or Fremont or Norwalk. I don't see it going any more east than this area in here. I don't think it's going to get into Cleveland. Like I said, it's possible if our trough speeds up, but personally, I don't see it. Capybara, it's simply just the low pressure is really carrying today's threat at the moment. If these storms didn't fire so close to the low pressure, we wouldn't have seen much of any severe threat at the moment. You know, we'd just be dealing with this. If these storms didn't fire near the low, we'd just be dealing with isolated rumbles of thunder. Central Missouri get anything on Wednesday? Um, let me put it this way. It's hard to tell. There's two completely vastly different scenarios. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. You have a chance for severe weather, but it's hard to say exactly what you may see. There's definitely a chance for some severe weather, maybe a spin-up tornado, some small hail. Your average slight risk. Spin-up tornado, 60-mile-an-hour winds, 1-inch hail, all being possible. Anything greater than that, I'm just a little too unsure to say at the moment. Either we have a huge warm sector that allows for a bunch of thunderstorms all over central Missouri, or we have a very weak warm sector that allows for nearly nothing more than some light to moderate rain. So again, if you're in either one of these tornado warnings here, Bertha, Eagle Bend, Lake Shore, make sure you guys are all in your safe spot. We could see a tornado drop at any moment. And yeah, just make sure you're in your safe spot if you're in these two tornado warnings. Again, the other two, Parker's Prairie has been canceled, and the one west of Poplar has been canceled. This is in central Missouri. Or Minnesota. My bad. Not Missouri, sorry. I was just talking about central Missouri severe threat Wednesday. This is Minnesota. This is central Minnesota. Mixing up my states. Let's see. Any tornadoes near Chicago on Wednesday or Thursday? There's likely not on Thursday. Thursday it should stay well east. But Wednesday, yes, there's going to be a chance for a tornado around Chicago. You should be inside the chance for a tornado on Wednesday, yeah. Albeit, though, a very low chance, just, yeah, there should be a chance. Let me see here. So, tornado on the ground here in Minnesota. Let me see. Give me a moment, y'all. Yeah, that was definitely on the ground. Chaser, actually likely a strong tornado with this. At one point, it was a large stovepipe with possibly even a few vortices near it. So definitely a strong tornado likely on the ground here. Likely still on the ground. Hard to say now because of the trees, but probably still a strong tornado ongoing here in Lake Shore, Minnesota. This is our only active tornado warning. The other three have been canceled, so no longer warned, no longer warned, no longer warned. Our only tornado warning is an observed warning. Let's go back to here. So there's your area of rotation. Yeah, that was likely a strong tornado. Wait to see our velocities update here in 4 seconds. Yeah, so you can see the area of rotation right there. Broad, but it could easily be much, much tighter towards the surface there. I don't see it anymore. Yeah, so unsure if this is still on the ground, but a chaser did have a very large tornado on the ground with this storm. And likely a strong tornado that was on the ground with this storm going towards Lake Shore in central Minnesota. Switch this over. There we go. It'd be very nice if we had a radar out in this area. We've tracked this radar hole multiple times on this channel. I can remember at least 4 risks where we had a near and or a tornado outbreak in this radar hole. Oh no, the 5% is already verified now, Ben. This is our 3rd or 4th tornado, and this is likely a strong tornado. So yeah, definitely a verified 5%. Not for the southern 5%, though. Definitely not verified further south. Yeah, so we'll keep watching that area of rotation. Looks pretty weak. But again, it's far from the radar site, so likely stronger towards the surface there, towards the lower levels where we likely still have a tornado ongoing, going towards Lake Shore, Breezy Point here. Still an observed tornado warning, continuing the observed tornado warning for Jenkins, Breezy Point, Lake Shore, and central Minnesota. So that's on the ground once again in central Minnesota, just to give you a larger picture there. So there's the Twin Cities, there's St. Cloud, and it's well north of both of those areas. It's way up here in Lake Shore in central Minnesota, just to kind of give you an idea. Because I know when I'm that zoomed in, you could probably, lose sense of exactly where we are in this state. Still not much west of the Twin Cities or south of our active tornado warning, really just whispers of heavy rain and some isolated thunder, lightning. Nothing too over the top. But some large hail, 1.75-inch hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds, and likely a strong tornado. All potentially ongoing over Lake Shore right now. We did have a strong tornado on the ground. I can't confirm if we do or don't at the moment. It's better safe than sorry just to get to your safe spot. It just dropped a strong tornado, and that strong tornado could still be on the ground. Wow, that was a very strong tornado. I'm going to repost that on Twitter. Let me just tweet it real quick. I'm going to spell out the state. Minnesota. There we go. I just quote tweeted a chaser who had a strong stovepipe tornado on the ground. Quite a biggins. Awesome view of it. It's still an observed warning, so definitely could still be on the ground. We're going to treat it as a tornado on the ground because it is still an observed warning, which means the tornado's on the ground. Although I did lose visual of it. Yeah, likely still a strong tornado on the ground over Lakeshore, Minnesota right now. Make sure you're in your safe spot. That is our only active tornado warning at the moment. Let me go back here again. Yeah, and this storm very close to the surface low. And you can see the spin when you loop reflectivity. You could see it spinning. So, I mean, our surface low is in very, very close proximity to this storm. Our surface low is probably back here near Park Rapids, very close to Park Rapids. And our cell is just to the southeast of that, so that allows for enhanced vorticity for these storms. But they were so clustered, I didn't expect to see a strong tornado out of it. And there's a report. Multi-vortex tornado reported on the ground. Video confirmation as well. Video confirmation. And I mean, it got really strong at one point. Those velocities, even this far away, were 130 miles per hour. All right, sounds like the warning just got an update. It is still observed, so still a tornado on the ground, this time observed now by law enforcement over Lakeshore, Minnesota. It is still on the ground. Wow. Ben, no, the chaser who I was watching didn't have a rain wrap tornado, and then the quote tweet on Twitter I quoted wasn't rain wrapped either. Both had a really good visual. All right. Sorry, I'm trying to just fix this up really quick. Yeah, so still a tornado warning in place, just one tornado warning active right now, and it is the one that dropped a strong tornado moments ago. Definitely some more robust convection trying to form on this tail end of our cold front here. Actually, pretty sure our cold front goes all the way back into Colorado, so this is just an area where our low pressure doesn't have as much influence on the environment, and thus we don't see as much convection here. Not a very strong cold front. As mentioned before, 1008 millibar low pressure, not really strong. But still enough to get some vorticity for this cell, enough for it to produce a tornado. Still an observed tornado for 6 more minutes. Still observed. Oops. So this storm, way more disorganized in terms of rotation than what it was about 5 minutes ago. Looks a lot weaker. Big severe thunderstorm warning, and it is a significant severe 1.75-inch hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds. That expires in 20 minutes, so that is a new significant severe there. Man, getting updates like every 5 seconds feels like from those severes back in Mississippi. Most for 60-mile-an-hour winds, 0.75-inch hail. Very, very scattered severe storms across the U.S. No focused area of severe storms right now. New observed tornado warning. Still an observed tornado warning going into now Riverton. Riverton in central Minnesota. Farm Island also as well. So make sure you're in your safe spot. Still a observed tornado over Lake Shore. Weather spotters have confirmed a tornado at 4:36. That was 4 minutes ago. 4 minutes ago, observed tornado. That new warning is for nearly 30,000 people. Let me go back to this radar site. Trying to see if we could see any CC drop, perhaps. From any radar sites. I think our best chance would probably be the KDLH radar site. I don't see any obvious CC. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get GR2 on that. Feels like it's always in a radar hole. It feels like our tornadoes are always in radar holes now. Let's see. Probability of debris. See if there's any... Oh, that's a pretty good signature there. Oh. Man, yeah, you can't tell. You just can't tell at all, but that might have been CC. Just difficult to say. Now you can see a good area of rotation southeast of Lake Shore. Man, it feels like those severes are updating literally every second. I swear I've heard that beep like 12 times in a row in the last minute. If not way more than that. Yeah, 15 minutes ago was that report of a strong tornado. That couplet looks like it's trying to get tighter to me. I'm going to have to hop on Radar Omega just for a second. I want to see one thing on here. I just don't want to screw up my GR2. Yeah, so that's your storm relative velocity there. And you can see that is strengthening. So your green is obviously winds going towards the radar site. Just like this. Red is winds going away from the radar site. So we have this little area of rotation right in here. And it's starting to get pretty strong just east of Lake Shore. So that's where we're thinking a tornado is likely still on the ground. Also looks like it's probably got a bit of a, not like a tornado vortex hole with it, but just the rain looks to be wrapping around the area of rotation there, right in the middle. Let me go back over to weatherwise again. Yeah, more of like a donut hole here. More of like a donut hole. I wouldn't call it a tornado What did I call it? Tornado vortex hole? Yeah, I wouldn't call it that. Um, looks more of just a donut signature to me. Proxy, I'm not too sure if that was... Um, that was probably the old one, I would have to guess. Let me see where that leads me to. Yeah, yeah, that was when it first touched down. So that's not our new tornado. That was our big stovepipe. Definitely was a strong tornado. Yep, starting to see a bit more storms firing up out here. But they're not really strengthening. Only one is kind of maintaining a heavy rain shower. I wouldn't exactly say it's strengthening just yet. It's maintaining rain. Doesn't really seem like it's strengthening much to me. Go back to GR2 analysis. Go back to this radar site. So difficult to tell, man. I really wish we would have a radar out here, but I mean, at least we have 3 radars that are in some proximity of the storm. It's not like halfway across the country or something. At least we could still see it. Albeit not well at all, but yeah. So we are actually going to switch over to this scene. So this is now a particularly dangerous situation, tornado warning. So this is now a life-threatening situation. A large and extremely dangerous tornado has now been observed with this storm in north central Minnesota. So this is now a particularly dangerous situation, tornado warning. This is a life-threatening situation. You have to be seeking shelter right now. This is a life-threatening situation, a damaging tornado, a large and extremely dangerous tornado has been observed in this tornado warning, which is for over 26,000 people. It also includes 8 schools and 2 hospitals. This is a life-threatening situation. Seek shelter immediately if you are in this particularly dangerous situation, tornado warning. You should see that turn to a purple polygon, just like that. So that is a particularly dangerous situation, tornado warning now in place. Make sure you are in your safe spot. If you're not in your safe spot here, you need to be running to your safe spot. If you are in Deerwood or surrounding areas, Riverton, Merrifield, Cross Lake, Lake Shore, all inside this particularly dangerous situation, tornado warning. Again, this is a PDS tornado warning, which means a particularly dangerous situation tornado warning. All right, I'm going to go back over here. Quite surprised they pulled that that trigger. I'm honestly a bit surprised with that. Let's see. Trying to see if I can get any confirmation of this being on the ground right now, which I'm not seeing any chasers reporting it at the moment. But this is a particularly dangerous situation, observed tornado warning. So this storm has already produced a strong tornado, and it is likely producing another strong tornado here just to the south, south of Breezy Point. Breezy Point, Minnesota, still need to be in your safe spot, but the strong tornado is likely staying off to your south at the moment. So we're going to continue to watch that very, very closely. Let's switch back over to our other radar site. Yeah, any CC from this far is just going to be completely contaminated. Unless both radars show consistent CC for multiple scans and with height, uh, it's going to be impossible to tell. And it's right in the hail core too, so you're not going to be able to tell from this far. Now, with that violent tornado in southeast Kentucky, in that radar hole earlier this year, we had about 5 radar sites, even one that was about 300 or so miles away, that actually was able to observe it as well. But this storm is nothing even close to that. Environment's completely different. Just saying that we don't have all these radar sites that we have right now. None of them are confirming a large tornado based off of just CC. But that doesn't mean there's not one. I mean, again, this is far from the radar site, so there is likely a strong tornado on the ground. It's just it's not picking up enough debris to be detected 8,000 plus feet in the atmosphere, and because of that, we're not seeing a CC drop. Just because there's no CC doesn't mean there's not a tornado. We've had tornadoes plenty of times without a CC drop. It could just simply be over an area with no debris. It could simply just not be very strong at the moment. Multiple reasons. All right, let me see. So that's still a PDS tornado warning. It is still continuing here for the next about 39 minutes or so. Significant severe on the north side as well as north of the PDS warning. That includes Jenkins and Cross Lake, Breezy Point, all inside that. Significant severe for 1.75 inch hail as well. Yep, that's just what happens when you get an established embedded supercell near low pressure like this. And this one storm's produced at least 2 tornadoes so far, which for a low-end environment like today is very impressive. So I'm assuming they probably went PDS on this because they literally received 5+ chasers were reporting a strong tornado on the ground, and it was a large tornado, so they likely just pulled the PDS trigger as fast as they could for this area. And even if it's not a strong tornado, there's likely still a tornado on the ground here. So tornado was observed at this point right here. An observed large and extremely dangerous tornado was on the ground according to chasers. Right about this time, which is 2143Z, is when an observed strong tornado was on the ground near Lake Shore. And because of that, they have decided to pull that PDS trigger. So considering this storm's already produced 2 other tornadoes, and this is likely a 3rd tornado, probably still a strong tornado on the ground here. Yeah, I'm not surprised by why they pulled that after looking a little bit closer. Okay, and there was like 10+ different photos of a strong tornado with this. But that was about 30 minutes ago. They didn't pull the PDS warning for that. It was actually this report right here. Looks like this report. It was around Lake Shore, so it might have been that report. But there was a report near Lake Shore around 2143Z, and that's why they pulled the PDS trigger. This was where our multi-vortex strong stovepipe tornado was on the ground. That was at 2122Z. So about 20 minutes later, they pulled that PDS warning after that strong tornado was observed. It looks like that area of rotation is still pretty strong to me. A new tornado warning out here in Watkins for some rain. So make sure you're in your safe spot there in Eden Valley, Watkins, Kimball. Yeah, sure. I don't see much with it, but that is now tornado warned for over 6,000 people. I'm surprised on how early that has been tornado warned. I'm very surprised how early that's been tornado warned. I wasn't expecting it that soon. Switch back to our radar site. Yeah, that's probably still a strong tornado on the ground there. Likely still a strong tornado on the ground west of Crosby, barely to the northwest of Riverton, Minnesota. See what else we have here. Yeah, so this could be the third or fourth tornado, because we had a tornado south of Staples out of this storm. Then it produced that huge stovepipe well west of Lakeshore. Then it produced possibly either the same tornado was on the ground or another tornado near Lakeshore, and that's the one that went PDS. And possibly seeing another tornado being the third, depending on if it lifted or not, the third or the fourth tornado. So this is either Tornado 3 or Tornado 4 out of this storm. Which, by the way, if this is the fourth one, that does make today a regional tornado outbreak across Minnesota. If this is the third one, we're still one tornado shy of that. But we are on the doorstep of a regional tornado outbreak. Possible severe for Waterbury in northeastern Nebraska. Also, just briefly mentioning new mesoscale discussion. A severe watch will be issued in about somewhere. Let me see. Yeah, in about an hour or so. I was going to give you a range, but then just decided to click on it. In about an hour or so, we should have a severe watch issued across portions of Nebraska. 3 to 3.5 inch hail, 70-mile-an-hour winds, and a brief tornado will all be possible. Severe watch will be issued sometime. I like to give you a window. Let me go see real quick. Anytime between now and 7:15 Eastern. There you go. Literally could be issued at any moment. And or before 7:15 Eastern. So before 7:15 Eastern, we will see a severe watch in Nebraska. Hail being the main issue, followed by damaging winds, followed by a spin-up tornado. Yeah, still likely a strong tornado on the ground, or possibly a new one. That's up to the NWS to decide there once they survey it. But wouldn't be shocked if this is the same tornado or a new tornado west of Riverton right now. Not that. This. Very close to saying that is a CC drop. Very, very close to saying that's CC. Let's go to... I nearly want to say that was likely a CC drop northwest of Riverton. Easily could be a CC drop there with how both of those radars look. Not for sure, but it wouldn't surprise me. It is being scanned through hail, so that's very hard to say confidently, but it just wouldn't shock me if that is a debris signature. Yeah, Kane, it definitely was a strong to intense tornado. I don't know about it being violent, but it was definitely a strong tornado for sure. I doubt today's environment is capable of producing an actual violent tornado. Like I said before, it wasn't impossible we see a strong tornado, and with the amount of vorticity we had, we managed to get one. All right, that's an updated tornado warning. They are continuing, which I do not disagree with, a PDS tornado warning. Still the same tag for a tornado at 4:43 p.m. Yeah, so likely either the same tornado or another strong tornado on the ground. This time barely to the northwest of Riverton, in central Minnesota. That's going to be going towards Crosby here over the next 10 or so minutes. Yeah, not surprised with that continuation of a PDS tornado warning with how that couplet looks. But again, it is the same tag saying a tornado was observed at 4:43 Central. So still an observed large and extremely dangerous tornado ongoing. Still observed there. Yeah, so still a PDS observed tornado warning for 6 schools, 2 hospitals, and over 16,500 people. Yeah, I was trying to figure that out too, Caden. I'm not 100% sure. On the last 2 scans, there was quite convincing CC with ZDR drops. But it's so hard to say from this far. And when you're scanning through some small hail like that in multiple areas of heavy rain, it just corrupts the radar so much that it makes it almost impossible to tell, unless it is like a violent tornado, lofting a crazy amount of debris. It makes it nearly, if not impossible. But still likely a strong tornado ongoing northwest of Riverton, very close to Riverton. Very, very close to Riverton. Go check on that one near the northwest of the Twin Cities here. Might be getting a little bit of a LP hook echo trying to start up on that newest scan south of Watkins. Might actually be trying to spin up now. So be in your safe spot if you're in either one of these tornado warnings. Could start to see this try to strengthen near Watkins, Minnesota here over the next couple minutes. Still an observed large and extremely dangerous tornado. Very close to Riverton, heading very close to Crosby over the next 5 to 10 minutes. I mean, there's likely a tornado, Caden. It's hard to say if there's a lot of debris there. And I don't see any chasers observing this at the moment. The last chaser I saw observe this was almost 20 minutes ago. Actually, 20 minutes ago at this point now, 20 minutes ago. Yeah, every tornado on Twitter is violent. If there's a tornado on the ground, Twitter's going to say it's violent. Even if it's a 60-mile-an-hour couplet. So just be in your safe spot again. Riverton, Crosby, Deerwood in central Minnesota. Still a likely strong tornado on the ground there. Also, some pretty large hail falling with this, potentially around 1.75 inch in diameter. Trying to see how long this may last. I mean, this storm literally could continue to produce a strong tornado for as long as the next 3 hours. This could be a very, very long-tracked tornadic storm that we deal with for the rest of the day and into the night hours. I don't really expect these to weaken until they get to the Wisconsin border there. And that's very far away. Funnel cloud reported on our southern tornado warning out here near Watkins. Doesn't shock me at all with that newest radar scan showing a hook trying to form. Doesn't surprise me that this is attempting to drop a tornado now. That tornado warning was actually very early. Oh, we got an update on our PDS. That is for a new storm, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure that's for a new storm. So that's not for the one that's currently PDS. That is actually a new tornado warned storm here east of Brainerd in Minnesota. As of 5 minutes ago, is still down. Is that via chaser? I mean, this is likely now it's very rain-wrapped. The first tornado, or rather the second tornado it dropped, which was our strong one west of Lake Shore, that was not as rain-wrapped. This should be fully rain-wrapped. Might only get quick glimpses of it. 23,000 people in that new tornado warning, just slightly to the south of our PDS tornado warning. Yeah, the southern one, I can't tell where the couplet is. I want to say this is the couplet where my cursor is, but it's not as clear. Maybe if we go to this radar. It's hard to say. That might be the couplet northeast of Brainerd. Pretty good spectrum with ball there. Not much correlating on CC. ZDR's iffy. Still cannot tell if that is a CC drop or not, but either way, this storm has produced 3 to 4 tornadoes, and it is approaching just barely north of Crosby in central Minnesota. Welcome back, Catman. Gone for about an hour. Well, you missed a full-fledged tornado outbreak. We've had a full-fledged tornado outbreak out of one cell. Really. One cell has produced like four plus tornadoes at this point. Unless, I wonder, there is a chance that it's only been 2 and it's been one very long tracked tornado. I doubt it, personally. But you never know. So this storm originally produced its first tornado back here. And then it produced a second tornado here. And that's the one that is likely lifted and dropped multiple different times. Like I said, there's a chance it's been a long-tracked one, but in my opinion, it probably dropped down here, so that would be tornado 2. Then a third one here near Lakeshore, then lifted and is probably back on the ground for its 4th or 5th time. And then before that, we had 2 tornadoes back out here somewhere. One before we went live, and then one as we were starting up our live stream. It just depends on how many times it's lifted, on if we've seen a regional outbreak today or not. So this has been downgraded to a radar indicated tornado warning. Now this is where the community has been absolutely puzzled by, and still puzzled by. So this is a particularly dangerous situation, a life-threatening situation, a damaging tornado that is radar indicated, meaning it is not confirmed but is somehow a damaging tornado. And then here they say a large and extremely dangerous tornado and potentially deadly tornado is developing. But back up here, they say it is a damaging tornado. And then up here, they say a large and extremely dangerous tornado was located. So past tense there. So from my understanding, the way how I read it is a large tornado was on the ground and could redevelop at any moment. So you need to be in your safe spot. That's what I think. It is. But again, it's still confusing because the damage threat is, considerable, which is a significant tornado. And then they say it is a damaging tornado, and a damaging tornado is a tornado that is on the ground. So it's still confusing. But again, on this channel, I just word it as a radar indicated PDS tornado warning, means a strong tornado was on the ground and could redevelop at any moment. So at any second, we could have a strong tornado back on the ground. That is why this is a radar-indicated PDS tornado warning for Deerwood, Crosby, Riverton, and some surrounding areas here in central Minnesota. Still could see a spin-up tornado out of our storm west of South Haven, but it's not a very robust cell at the moment. It did have a funnel cloud reported on it almost 20 minutes ago. Go back to our other radar site here. So 2 areas of rotation here. That northern one easily could drop a strong tornado at any point. The southern one, a little concerned on where the rotation actually is and how strong it is. A lot of uncertainty with that, in my opinion. Radar site's really far, so not a clear beam on that. But either way, if you're in any of the 3 tornado warnings, be in your safe spot. And again, Crosby, Riverton inside a PDS radar indicated tornado warning, which means a tornado, a strong tornado was on the ground and could redevelop at any moment. Let me see here. I just look at chat and Lucky's being absolutely destroyed. Man. Love to see it. Love to see it. Glad to see you here, Lakeisha. Welcome to the stream. So these are our two areas of rotation. One is up here, and our other one is down here. That northern one looks at the moment to be the strongest. Again, it's previously dropped a strong tornado and could develop again and drop again at any moment. Storm has a history of producing multiple tornadoes, potentially as many as 4 to 5 tornadoes have dropped out of this singular storm. Again, it depends on how many times it's lifted, and I'm not going to be able to tell you that. The NWS is going to be the official say-so in that. Big time severe thunderstorm watch just got issued. Not showing up just yet. I'll show y'all that in a bit. That PDS tornado warning still goes for 13 more minutes. 13 more minutes on that warning. So that goes till 6:30. 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central. This is definitely a lot more clustered than what the HRRR is simulating, so I don't really trust the HRRR here. On what's going to happen in the future. But these storms should be our greatest tornado threat for a while longer. At least until 8:30, 9 o'clock. Again, I see these storms being an issue for at least the next 2 hours. Still could see a spin-up tornado try to drop out of this storm in the future, but imminently, it looks like they're probably going to let this warning expire in 12 minutes. Doesn't look that robust at the moment. I'm curious to see if any of these storms can actually strengthen a lot, because the HRRR thinks all of these will be able to strengthen and try to produce tornadoes here over the next hour or so. Let's see. Radar indicated for the ones south of our PDS warning, so still no official confirmation on that being on the ground. Thus, they've continued the radar indicated tornado warning for the next 27 minutes for Bay Lake, surrounding areas back up towards Wealthwood, Glen, all the way up into the Rice Lake National Wildlife Refuge. Wild outflow boundary. Are you talking about this? I doubt that will play much of a role in anything. If anything, it might just be helping storms initiate some. Yeah. Very clear area of rotation right there. Let's go to this radar site. Nope, not this one. This one. Very clear area of rotation. Pretty far north. Pretty far north. This is well to the south of Deer River. Just northwest of Hill City, where we just got a new tornado warning. Waiting to see that warning. There you go, pop up. That is for over 4,500 people in that new tornado warning. Okay. Still two good areas of rotation. I do think both of them have weakened for the moment. It's hard to say if they're still, producing a tornado. But neither of them are observed, so I don't think we have a tornado on the ground right now. I don't believe we've got a tornado on the ground anywhere at the moment. But we could easily have one out of any of these storms. The storm that I think is least likely to produce a tornado that is currently warned is definitely the one near South Haven, Minnesota. Just a cluster of rotating thunderstorms out here. Look at that. This one easily could drop at any second. That is a weak but quite tight / gate-to-gate area of rotation. So we'll continue to watch that northern storm really closely. Keep an eye on CC on that. What is it over right now? A heck load of trees. So if that does drop, it's going to be a big time tree ripper. Just like the other two tornadoes we saw in eastern Missouri earlier this year. There was two notable strong tree rippers. Just had an update to one of our warnings. The southern one is still in place for 8 more minutes. Still in place for 8 more minutes. Oh, wow. I just saw that. I think, yeah, Sam pointed that out. I didn't realize where you were talking about till just now. I just saw it in the corner of my eye. Pretty surprised that's not tornado warned. That could also drop a tornado at any moment. That's just northeast of Blackberry in northern Minnesota. Yeah, gonna keep an eye on CC for both of these storms because easily either one of these areas of rotation, if not, wouldn't be shocked if both could drop a tornado at any moment. A little surprised this one's not tornado warned, but this one is warned. So that could definitely produce a tornado at any moment. Southwest of Blackberry, the one northeast of Blackberry also could drop a tornado, but is not currently tornado warned. New mesoscale discussion out here in actually south central Minnesota. So that's going to be for the possibility of probably a new tornado watch if I had to guess. I ain't seen it yet. I'm going to go to this site to get it early as I can. A southward extension of Tornado Watch 423 into portions of south central Minnesota may be warranted. Isolated thunderstorms are developing with south-southwestward extent of your cold front into south central Minnesota, south of the current tornado watch. A warm... Hold on, we got another update to a warning here. Radar indicated. So in 6 minutes, we will drop all the way back down to a radar indicated tornado warning as long as nothing else changes. But again, a warm and moist air mass is in place ahead of evolving thunderstorms with around 40 knots of effective wind shear orientated perpendicular to the front and modest to lower level curvature per a VWP and mesoanalysis data. This should support the uptick in convection intensity with a couple discrete supercells possible. Large hail damaging winds and tornadoes will all be possible with this activity. Therefore, a local southward extension of Tornado Watch 423 may be warranted. They could issue that at any given second. That area has a significantly better area of wind shear at the moment. From here on out, wind shear just gets better, but our instability gets a little bit worse. But we should start to see severe storms. Actually, just got a severe storm, but we should start to see more severe storms and a couple tornadoes possibly could occur out here in around the Twin Cities area, pointing to the south. Could possibly be very close to the Twin Cities area. Trying to see if they already expanded that at all. Doesn't look like it. CC on Weatherwise has been bugged ever since their update this morning. Yeah, so still watching that area of rotation northeast of Blackberry. And the one even northeast of that. 2 areas of decent rotation. But the one northeast of Blackberry definitely could produce a tornado at any moment. We also have this one west of Stevenson that is trying to ramp up. And then our active tornado warning back here for Hill City. Hill City in Minnesota also trying to ramp up. Southern storms, it's just too difficult to say if those are ramping up at all. Way too difficult to say if they're strengthening at all. They're trying to rotate. They're trying to rotate. But difficult to say if it's ramping up. We'll lose that radar indicated tornado warning or radar indicated PDS tornado warning in about 2 minutes. We'll drop back down to a radar indicated normal warning. All right, they did go ahead and tornado warn that storm northeast of Blackberry. Not surprised by that. So there's your area of rotation moving up to the northeast. New tornado warning just got issued for the surrounding area. That includes Marble. So make sure you're in your safe spot there in Marble. And it sounds like we got another update. That's another tornado warning for our storm down here in French Lake. So they were going to let that expire in 2 minutes, but now it is beginning to rotate again. And they have reissued the tornado warning. Southern storm, far southern storm, has just been tornado warned for the next 32 minutes. I do believe much of these will be mainly hail and damaging wind threats, but with the good amount of lower level wind shear further south beginning to increase, we could see, we could see a spin up tornado down here. It's not too crazy yet, Ben. The only reason why today will likely be a regional tornado outbreak is because of that one storm. We just had one storm that formed in the perfect position between our low pressure and not too far south to the point where it was it wasn't far enough south to be away from the low, and it wasn't far enough north to be away from the instability. It formed right in the perfect spot. Because of that, we saw probably 4-ish tornadoes out of it. If it wasn't for that storm, we would still be at 2 tornadoes today, but instead we're closer to probably 6 or 7 tornadoes overall today, depending on how many times our PDS tornado lifted and then touched back down. By the time the day is all said and done, we'll probably be very, very close to 10 tornadoes today, if I had to guess. Because like I said, we still have a good solid 2 hours left of peak. Let's go to here. That is very close to producing a tornado. I would not be surprised if this is actively producing a tornado. Really, really nice looking miniature supercell here. Really well-defined inflow there. Good RFD cut with it too. I would not be shocked at all if that is actively producing a tornado south of Marble. Let's go back to that radar site again. All right, so we are now down to radar indicated tornado warnings. We'll switch back over to this scene until we get an observed plus warning. So 5 tornado warnings currently active, all of which are in Minnesota. 5 tornado warnings. Tornado warning for air. I mean, we've seen 3 Cape and Vorticity produce tornadoes with little rain showers before, so they're just being precautionary. Whilst it doesn't look like it could produce a tornado, and I made fun of it earlier, it's not impossible that it could. I'm gonna wait for the new scan here. Gotta appreciate a radar site that gives us 1 to 2 minute radar scans out here. We may not have a bunch of radars, and we may have a good large radar hole out here, but at least the radars that are scanning are giving us 1 to 2 minute scans instead of the 5-minute scans we've seen in Texas. All right, let's switch back over to our southern storm here. Yeah, like I said, not a lot of rotation, but this storm has produced funnel clouds in the past. And look at that, another tornado warning for our southern storm. So that's that's south-south. Our southern storms are getting further and further south. Howard Lake under a tornado warning, and Maple Lake under a tornado warning. And then we also have our tornado warning up here for Whelpwood. Another one for Kimberly. Tornado warning for Hill City. And finally, the furthest northern one at the moment is for Marby. Or Marble. Did I just say Marby? Marble. Marble. In north central Minnesota. Is that the expansion of your Tornado Watch, possibly? I wonder if this program's getting it quicker than weatherwise. Could have seen a little expansion of our Tornado Watch here just a second ago. See if we can figure out how far south that expansion goes. Yeah, like Capybara said, these are really all elevated. Even these northwest of Minneapolis, they just look elevated. Even the ones northwest of Minneapolis, but they're still going to try to produce tornadoes. I think the program's having to catch up on all the new warnings. Might be beeping for... Oh, well, it stopped on that one. Thought it was going to be beeping for a while there. It's definitely not bad at all, Catman. It's not a bad environment. In my opinion, they just kind of look elevated right now. And they've really struggled to fully mature. Like, they've been maturing slowly. Especially this tornado warning here. This one's really matured now over Silver Creek. They've just been very, very slow to organize. And then the ones further south are getting clustered already. Oops, not that radar site. Near Billings. Let me see. Billings, Montana. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That is not what I was expecting to see. So 80 to 90 mile an hour winds ongoing here north of Billings, Montana right now. That is possibly 90 mile an hour winds right there. Wow. Very, very intense damaging winds. So you've got 60 to 70 mile an hour winds ongoing in this general area here, and then you've got a pocket of 80 to 95 mile an hour winds in the middle of that north of Billings. We'll see if they upgrade that. I'm shocked they haven't already. It just started up on the last 2 scans, though, so they very easily may already be trying to make that destructive, and it's just, you know, they may be waiting to see more scans here. Keep getting a beep for that tornado watch, so I'm guessing that watch got expanded. It's just not rendered in on my end. Let's see. We'll find out eventually. That's a lot of tornado warnings. 6 tornado warnings, 15 severes. Wow. Definitely the most activity we've had in a couple days in terms of widespread severe weather and widespread tornado warnings here. In my opinion, quite widespread tornado warnings. Oh, hey, look at that. Tornado reported. Debris reported in the air and on the ground at 22:30. That was 7 minutes ago. 7 minutes ago, tornado report. In between, actually, that area is in 2 tornado warnings. They are in 2 tornado warnings. And there you go. They just observed that right in front of us. Just changed that to observed. I'm still just waiting to see a debris signature on this one southeast of Marble. Because, honestly, it looks really, really good. Newest scan there on our storm north of Billings, Montana. Still likely 80, 90 mile an hour winds ongoing. And remember, this is your radar's right there. That's literally your radar site. So this isn't like, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,000 feet in the atmosphere here. This is probably about 500-ish feet away from our radar beam. So this is a very, very accurate radar beam scanning very close to the surface. I mean, they're not very elevated, Capybara. I think they're just slightly struggling due to not the best lapse rates and also not the best forcing. But the ones that are closer to the low pressure, like the ones, for instance, west of Minneapolis, and of course our active bunch of 4 tornado warnings here in northern Minnesota, those are definitely starting to mature more. But these far southern ones, like I'm talking about these, those are the ones that I feel like aren't going to be able to mature as much. And that's where they were talking about issuing a extension to our tornado watch. Let's see here. Just have a spectrum width ball at all, and not a very consistent one. So observed tornado warning still for Glenn. Tornado report came in just a couple minutes ago, about 7 minutes ago, of debris being lofted in the air and visual ground debris on this storm. And because of that report, they have observed this tornado warning. Storms aren't, like, once you get past 10, that's when storms start to become more elevated. And then past 15 plus is like fully elevated storms. And those to the southwest, you're looking at about, looks like about, what is that? 17? Looks about 17 further south. Right on the Minnesota-Iowa border. But the ones in like the Twin Cities, west of the Twin Cities, that's about 10. And then our ones currently tornado warned out here, including this observed warning, that's near 10 as well. So it's only the very far southern ones are elevated. Very far southern ones, like these down in here, are elevated. And not a lot of lapse rates, not the best lapse rates. Okay, but not the best. Likely helping them to struggle a bit. And then these, yeah, this is just explosive storms on part of our cold front here. We're going to keep seeing those explode. Those are going to continue to explode for really the rest of the day and into the night hours. Definitely exploding way earlier than what the HRRR was saying. So HRRR taking a big loss on the convective evolution of these storms on the Nebraska-Iowa border. Very poorly simulated by the HRRR. Only good area rotation I see right now is this one southeast of Marble. A little bit area of weak rotation near Hill City there, but the main one I see is southeast of Marble right now. And then outside that, we got a bunch of wind and some hail here on the Nebraska-Iowa border. I do want to go back to check the one north of Billings. They've kept that at 70 mile an hour velocities, or 70 mile an hour winds, I should say, for their severe. But we could definitely see velocities have shown winds exceeding 80 miles per hour. So could see up to 80 mile an hour winds as that storm goes north of Billings, Montana. They will reach Wisconsin. Will they be this strong? I don't believe so. I think once these get to the Wisconsin border, border of Wisconsin and Minnesota, I think that's when they're going to start to begin to weaken, which should be close to probably about 8 o'clock, maybe a little after 8 p.m. Eastern time. Those southern ones, they're going to be, you know, they probably aren't going to make it to Wisconsin. These should stay in Minnesota probably for the rest of the day into the night hours until they die out and turn into light rain for southwest Wisconsin. These will probably make it to Wisconsin here over the next 2 hours or so. And they should weaken. I'm thinking they should weaken. We probably won't end up with a tornado watch into Wisconsin. I imagine we won't see a new watch extension there. Really good job by the SPC and their 5% tornado risk. Of course, had the uncertainty on the further extent to the south, but really, really good job by the SPC today. Conditional tornado threat turned into not so conditional. It was definitely dependent on how convection evolved in the morning and the afternoon, and then even after that, it still looked quite conditional. Today overperformed my expectations easily overperformed my expectations. I was thinking, 3 or 4 tornadoes, possibly maybe a strong one near sunset. But not what we actually saw. That it exceeded my expectations for sure. Which after sunset, these storms should die out. Like I was saying before, really they should die out towards 8:39. Storms in Nebraska are being undercut by outflow. I mean, we're not expecting much of a tornado threat down there. I don't think we're at observed anymore. Just double check real quick. Yeah, they downgraded that. Okay. Back to the scene. Let's see. Okay. So I was just checking stuff real quick. Seeing if we have any new reports or anything new. Already showed y'all these. Actually, I don't think I did show y'all. Are we a bit bugged over here? Severe watch is out, but not on weatherwise is in. So there's your severe watch. I showed y'all the MCD for it, but not the actual watch. It's out there for Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas, and Colorado. Probabilities on that is going to be 20% for a tornado, for 2 or more tornadoes, rather. 20% chance for 2 or more tornadoes. 60% chance for damaging winds, and a 60% chance for overall significant damaging winds, 40-40 for hail. So really good chance for very significant damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour, and also a good shot at seeing 2.5-inch in diameter hail today in that watch area. These 2 far southern tornado warnings, they don't look impressive, but we could still see a spin up tornado with them. And there's that new extension to our tornado watch. On Radar Mega, it says it's been extended just a couple counties south. Just a few counties, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 counties south. I mean, considering those storms aren't really that impressive, I'm quite surprised they did that. Personally, I was thinking they were going to wait until severe warnings or tornado warnings were going to start being issued out here. And then if that happened, they'd extend it. But they went ahead and extended it south anyways, just in case those storms do anything. Wonder if that little guy's capable of producing a tornado. Cherry. It's near Cherry. Keep an eye on that. Welcome back, Kaylee. Oh, that's the one you were talking about, Caden? See, I see you guys call out the town names, but unless you say like, tornado on the ground or strong area of rotation or this area is rotating, normally I don't look at the town. Normally I don't go and I type it all in and figure out where you're talking about. Already happened twice today though, where Sam mentioned an area, then you, Caden, there just mentioned another area, and I found both of them without looking up the town names, which means that's a good call out because you called it out, and then I realized it, and then I called it out and realized you called it out. Everybody called it out. Let's see. Capybar, are you talking about the one Caden and I were just mentioning near Cherry? It's if you're talking about that, it did just get tornado warned. Well, good job, Caden. But instability is very thin up here. Very thin instability. Like, we're talking barely 500 joules at the surface. Very thin instability. Not a lot of wind shear either, and it is not in the best spot for your low pressure. Let me check. Hold on, I just want to double check with it. Definitely not. Definitely not in the best spot for a tornado. Oh, hey, what's up, Colorado? What are you doing? Looks like a storm fired off an outflow boundary and it just got tornado warned out here in Colorado. So, tornado warning just south of the I-70 corridor here in Colorado. Let's go all the way over to here. Look at that. Report of a tornado. Multiple reports of a landspout around the vicinity of this location based off of radar. Reports of a landspout through 4:44 p.m. Viewable between Flagler and Bethune County. Yep. Horrible pronunciation. I know. So that was about 8 minutes ago. About 8 minutes ago. Not surprised by that. Outflow boundary, Colorado, June, landspout. Yep. If you mix all three of those together, June, Colorado, outflow boundary, your result is that, a landspout. That's your result. Not surprised. Let's go back over to these storms. So, the one in Hill City has been canceled, and I think that is the only one that has been canceled. So we should still be at like 5, 6, yeah, 6 tornado warnings because of that one in Colorado. So we're at 6 tornado warnings, 5 in Minnesota, 1 in Colorado. Man, if we just had a bit of a better environment out here, this would definitely pose a really solid tornado threat. But we don't have a better environment out here, so it's probably just going to stay with this look of being pretty messy. Let me see here. Oh boy, well that's something. Hold on a second. Okay. Okay. Sorry, just something not related to weather I had to quickly do. I wanted to see something. What you mean, capybara? Speaking of rain, Catman, north of Greensboro, North Carolina, stalling out outflow boundary. We literally had like 8 inches of rain here north of Greensboro. Currently in a considerable flash flood warning right now, by the way. Like 8 inches of rain in 4 hours. Man, just give me this at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Why can't I have that during mid-afternoon, not almost 7 o'clock at night or 7 o'clock in the evening? Now it's the waiting game to see what these storms are going to try to do here over the next couple of minutes. See if any of these try to strengthen or if it's just going to stay as a big slop. I'm starting to think a big slop is looking more likely with these storms further south. New severe for Isle. I believe we had a viewer from Isle early in the stream in a severe storm for 1-inch hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds. No Tor possible tag on that at the moment. Alrighty. Yeah, that area of rotation is trying to get more organized south of Kelly Lake, but the environment's not very favorable. We could see still a new warning out for areas northeast, even though that rotation is staying pretty unfavorably orientated. It could still warrant a new tornado warning very close to Hibbing here over the next couple minutes in northeastern Minnesota. I think our tornado threat may actually be ramping down a little bit. None of these areas look overly impressive. Significant severe just got issued west of the Twin Cities for 1.75-inch hail. That includes Howard Lake, all the way towards Watertown and Independence. Possibly, Sam. Starting to think we might be past peak. The only good area of rotation right now looks to be this one right in here, southwest of, south of Kelly Lake. And even then, that doesn't look the most impressive at the moment. Yeah, so there goes your tornado warning for French Lake, and the one in Howard Lake will follow very closely behind that. All right, is that just a weather-wise bug? Yep, still a tornado warning in effect here in northeast Colorado. Weather-wise says there's not, but there actually is. Let's see. Colorado. I may just need a refresh. Thank you, Sam, for being an EF1 member for 2 months now. I appreciate it. Yes, looks like that's going to be on my end, so let's go ahead and just do a refresh. That's not Weatherwise's end. That is just the fact I haven't refreshed it in a while. I should probably get the premium subscription, considering I'll be using this now. Yeah, see, the watch now appeared up, so that was on Now it's just the fact I haven't refreshed it in a while. Satellite was up and working for a moment, but now it's back down again. Actually, is it back down? This might be in military time. It is in military time, but it's still an hour and 20 minutes behind. All right, so we're down to 4 tornado warnings, 3 of those in Minnesota. They're looking a lot less impressive the more east they go. In terms of a tornado threat. Now, still, the hail threat, wind threat, that's going to be an issue for at least another 2-3 hours, but the tornado threat might be decreasing here. It wouldn't surprise me at all, Caden, but I think we're going to have to wait to see what convection overnight does into tomorrow morning. I doubt they'll pull it into the overnight hours. I think if they pull a moderate risk, it will be at either the 1630Z update, or they could even do it at the 4 p.m. update. So 1630Z or the 20Z update. It just depends on how convection evolves overnight into tomorrow. One of these warnings updated. I don't know which one, though, because I wasn't looking. Good thing I have a software that will tell me, so just give it a second to update, and I'll tell you. Let me see here. So still going to keep an eye on the area of rotation here, south of Hibbing. Kind of surprised they haven't extended that warning, to be honest with you. And then still a messy area of rotation with our cell over Iron Junction. And multiple very little weak areas of rotation along our line going towards Denham in east central Minnesota. I'll see what Sam's talking about here. Might as well. See if I pointed that out. Oh, you're talking about this right in here. It's so clustered, it will likely just be mainly a hail threat. But I do see what you're talking about. Very broad, very weak area of velocity there. All right, let's go back up to our radar site in northeast Minnesota. Take it on GR2. And you see still a pretty good area of rotation there south of Hibbing in northeast Minnesota. I'm a little surprised they haven't extended that warning. Like I said, the orientation of it is not very favorable for a tornado, but it's still rotating enough to potentially produce a tornado. In my opinion. It did broaden out a lot more on that newest scan. Gracious day. So they are continuing that warning for 11 more minutes southwest of Hibbing, but they are yet to extend it right now. And we do have an observed landspout, observed tornado warning here in eastern Colorado, southwest of Stranton. There you go. Southwest of Stranton in east central Colorado. So that's observed now for 10 minutes. Little couplets starting south of Hill City. Let me see that from this radar. Yeah, it's just sparking up. But this is very close to our low pressure. This is, these could easily try to spin up tornadoes, so we'll need to watch that closely around Hill City. Also, the one to the north, significantly weaker, but just a broad area of velocities to keep an eye on for any intensification in the future. North of Hill City, and especially that one south of Hill City. That could try to produce a tornado pretty shortly here. All right, switch back over to the Twin Cities radar site. So all these storms have gone severe. The one to the north has died out, believe it or not, and the one to the south is clustered up. Currently quite messy, but still could produce some large hail up to 1.75 inch in diameter. They did go ahead and severe warn our storms far south over Lafayette in south central Minnesota. Yeah, that is breaking apart though south of Hill City, so that's good. Good news there. Down to 3 active tornado warnings here in northeast Minnesota. Could get down to just 2 here in a moment. And again, we do still have that observed tornado warning for 17 people out there in Colorado for a landspout that's ongoing. Oh boy. What did I just see? Man, I'm missing something I really want to be watching right now. I didn't realize it was tonight. Started 7 minutes ago. Dang it. Oh well. Updated tornado warning. Let's see what that is for. It's the northern one here. It is Caden, yep. Don't see much rotation on that, but I do agree with a continuation of that warning for the next 22 minutes. Just based on how it looks, and it's very close to the low pressure, so it could still try to spin up a tornado. Caden, I don't just watch NASCAR. I watch all types of series. NASCAR is definitely the main one, but there's that new tornado warning. There you go. I didn't know if they were going to do it, but they just did it. A new warning for Hibbing, Cherry, and Kinney. Tornado warning in northeastern Minnesota. Ben, you're just as lame as me, buddy. We literally look at a radar site all day. We sit at our phones and computers to look at a screen about whether that's happening potentially thousands of miles away from us. That's not as much more exciting as left turns on NASCAR, so you're just as boring as I am. You're just as boring as me, dude. So we're going to keep an eye on that one in Hibbing. Definitely not the most tornadic presentation on velocities. Like I mentioned before, it's got a lot of inflow there, or a lot of inbound winds going towards our radar site, so it definitely has a more outflow dominant characteristic to it. However, on that northern edge, we could see a booking vortice or a booking vortex try to form up here, and thus definitely could see a tornado attempt to form south of Hibbing here over the next hour or so, going towards Cherry in northeastern Minnesota. No, it's not inflow, it's inbound. So this is outflow dominant. Yes, this is more outflow dominant. But when you have inflow, this red is your inflow. Because look, you got to pay attention to where your radar is. Our radar's down here. So that's our radar site. So winds are going towards the radar like this. Your winds are going like this towards the radar site. And then your inflow is actually red here. And right on the northern side of that, see how you have this little indent here? That little indent can provide for a little like stopping of your inflow. So your inflow stops right there and it feeds into the top of your tiny bow echo. And then when you have in this case inbound winds, which is actually outflow winds pushing this way, that causes rotation because you have winds going up and around, and then you have those winds pushing the thunderstorm to bow it out. And that creates an area of spin on the northern side, and that's called a bookend vortex. And that's what you're seeing right there, exactly on the northern side, south of Hibbing. You're seeing a bookend vortex area of rotation. Which again, it's caused by when you have a little notch in a bow echo. So it's a bow echo, bow echo, bow echo, bow echo, notching right there, and then it goes into the rest of the storm. Let me go back over to this radar site. And it looks pretty strong on NROT, but it's actually not that strong. It's probably no more than about 40 to 50 mile an hour rotation there. And again, still could see a tornado at any moment here. South of, hey, look, it's Virginia. South of Virginia in northeastern Minnesota. Virginia's finally getting something. It's just not in the right state. It's in Minnesota. It's Virginia and Minnesota is finally getting something. That's crazy. The one way Virginia could see anything is moving to Minnesota. You know, I'm going to make a tweet on that. I'm making a tweet on that. Let's see here. I like that. I like that one. The only time Virginia could see something is if it moves states to Minnesota. Dude. I sent it to Lucky, too. New severe torr possible, 1-inch hail, and 60 mile an hour winds here for Moose Lake in east central Minnesota. And the HRRR has most of these storms just staying sub-severe in an hour or so. I don't really agree with that. I think we will keep seeing some severe storms, but our tornado threat has already passed peak. I believe we're now decreasing with our overall tornado potential. But I do think our severe threat is peaking. So our tornado potential is decreasing, but our severe weather in terms of hail and damaging winds is peaking right now. We have a severe for 1.75-inch hail that's been observed, 1.25-inch hail, 60 mile an hour winds, 1-inch hail, 60 mile an hour winds, 1-inch hail, 60 mile an hour winds, 1-inch hail. So I think our severe threat is peaking right now, and our tornado threat is beginning to decrease. And then in about an hour or so, all hazards will begin to decrease. and we'll start to see minimal activity after probably about 8 o'clock Eastern is when things will really start to settle down. It looks like these storms are moving faster than the HRRR, and thus they're going to die faster than what the HRRR is predicting. Make sense? Kinda. Still... Actually, that observed warning expires right now. That is no longer in effect. No longer in effect. So we're down to 3 tornado warnings across the U.S. All 3 are in Minnesota. And we're about to lose one in 14 minutes. They just issued a TOR possible, severe, and advanced. So I don't believe we will see a new warning on this unless rotation ramps up in the future. I still could see a bookend vortex trying to produce a tornado here near Hibbing. And then looks like the storm is starting to fall apart near Virginia in northeastern Minnesota. So I think our main storm to watch right now is the one over Hibbing in terms of a tornado threat. In terms of hail, the far southern storms are definitely the 2 to watch. The ones approaching the Twin Cities. Now, the furthest southern storm in Minnesota, that is isolated small hail. Could see some isolated large hailstones there as well. We did just get an update to a tornado warning, but I don't see where. I think that might have been a glitch on Weatherwise right there. It sent the audible cue, but I didn't hear, or I didn't see anything. Audible cue, but I didn't see anything. But I think I'm probably gonna get ready to wrap it up here, to be honest with y'all. I didn't really plan to cover today. I wanted to just do an hour briefing. That's why I went live so early, but then things started popping off, and one thing led to another. We had a PDS tornado warning, so I decided to stay live. I still do think we could see a spin-up tornado on the northern side in northeast Minnesota, and I do think we could see a tornado somewhere in this area, but I'm pretty sure we're done with our peak tornado threat, and our severe threat is currently peaking right now. We're well past halfway through our watch, so I think I'm probably going to conclude here in a little bit. We'll still stay live for a couple more minutes, but we'll start ending here in like 3 minutes or so. I mean, we covered 80 to 90 mile an hour winds in Montana with those velocities indicating 80 plus mile an hour winds. A bunch of hail in Nebraska, Iowa, a bunch of tornadoes, possibly even a regional tornado outbreak in Minnesota. I'll probably title this Tornado Outbreak, to be honest with you. I think we've had 6 tornadoes today in Minnesota. I don't know how many have been reported, but I'm quite confident that we've had 6 tornadoes today in the state of Minnesota. 13 reports? Well, shoot, I am definitely calling this a regional tornado outbreak. What are you talking about? Yeah, regional tornado outbreak. Heck yeah. Definitely calling it a regional tornado outbreak. Now, tornado reports doesn't necessarily correlate to tornadoes. It just means those are reports of a tornado. One single tornado can be reported a bunch of times, however many people see it. If there's 50 chasers on a brief spin-up tornado, it could be reported so many times. Tornado reports doesn't necessarily correlate to tornadoes. However, I do think we've seen more than 6. I just wanted to double check that we've seen more than 6 tornado reports, and we've seen 13. Which I believe probably 5 of those came from this one cell alone that is still tornado warned. And then we probably had, so we had probably 5 with this cell, and then we had 2 back here associated with a different storm. And I'm sure at one point we probably had a tornado up here, and then probably, I don't think we had a tornado down here, though. It wouldn't surprise me if we had a tornado up here. That just hasn't been observed yet, because we had some pretty good couplets up here. Alright. Why you give me another audible cue here? Why the Bryce keeps giving me... Oh, there you go. That's what it's for. So tornado warning does continue for 10 more minutes there, but rotations really died out. So I think the best chance for a tornado over the next hour is probably going to be with this storm in Hibbing moving northeast towards Virginia. But it's far enough north to the point where I do believe it's going to be on a weakening trend from here on out. I'll still monitor it off of stream, but I'll be back here tomorrow. Don't worry, you ain't going to be able to take too long of a break from me. I know you want me to disappear for a couple more days, but you're stuck with me. Tomorrow you're going to be stuck with me for a while longer too. So we'll be live for the next couple days. Today, of course, we're wrapping up our stream now. Tomorrow we'll be live for multiple hours. Wednesday, I do have something Wednesday afternoon, so I can't go live until probably after like 2:30, 3 o'clock. I may not be able to stream till about 2 or 3 o'clock Wednesday, but I will be live Wednesday. So tomorrow I will be live. Wednesday I will be live. Thursday, we'll see. Chase or live stream. We'll see which one I choose. Probably going to lean more towards a live stream because let's be honest, Chase is here in North Carolina, Virginia. They've been horrible recently. So, but yeah, that's going to be it. I will see you guys tomorrow. Probably. I do think it will go moderate. Yes, Ben. But I'll probably see you guys. It might be a little bit of a later live stream because I don't expect much to pop off until close to 5 or so. So we may not be live until... At the earliest, I'll be live at 4. The earliest I'll be live is 4 o'clock tomorrow. So that's Eastern time, by the way. So again, thank you guys so much for watching today's live stream. I greatly appreciate it. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. And I hope to see you guys in tomorrow's live stream. We'll start up somewhere probably between 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be live tomorrow, so I hope to see you guys there. Still could see a brief spin-up tornado tonight, so if you're in any of the watches or in the risk area, make sure you're staying hyper weather aware, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, mods, for mod and chat. I'll see you guys in tomorrow's live stream. Have a great rest of your Monday night. Goodbye. stay safe, watch for your weather, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's live stream. Thank you much for on chat. Have a great rest of your Monday night. Good.